Ahoy, landlubbers. It's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. And, well, we got off to a rough start already. I set everything up to start the stream early, and instead of that, my entire computer crashed, trying to do something completely normal and routine that had no reason for breaking it. So we're getting a touch of a late start, and we're not entirely sure if everything's gonna work, which, like, what else is new, I guess, but, like, I mean, it hasn't been a good time. That's the end of the sentence. So like that's not great. It's hot. It's pretty hot and reasonably humid here. I probably honestly should increase the intensity of the secret fan that lets me exist while trying to stream with all the lights on and everything. But I think that might be enough for the microphone to pick it up due to proximity, or at the very least interfere with the recording in some way. It's already very broken. Everything is very broken. But let's focus on what's not broken, I guess. Which, at least as far as I'm aware, is AI Nirvana Initiative. This is our third installment of the game, and I'm genuinely very impressed with this game in a lot of different ways. It's really difficult to try and encompass all of those thoughts and feelings just generally, but also like succinctly. But so if we look at AI, the Somnium Files as a whole, it's like a pretty good story told badly with like, good game concepts executed mediocrely. Generally, like, the Somniums themselves were like really hit or miss, and while they had some creative ideas, the gameplay was mostly just like trial and error nonsense, and so like it wasn't really like a puzzle game, and it wasn't exactly cinematic because like you could fail those and it could become frustrating and you'd have to replay like large sections of them sometimes depending on how stuff went. It's like that wasn't great. I went on ad nauseum at the end of our recent replay of the game about how I think the story is like good, if not great, but told poorly, so that it doesn't really capitalize on the cool ideas that it had. And also just like, myriad little gripes about characters and the choice to make so many of them like borderline to extremely unlikable. We're 7 hours into Nirvana Initiative, so like it's obviously a little early to call it. We've had two Somnium segments, which were both quite good. I mean, the first one was a little basic because it was sort of tutorially. The second one was very good, and it even had like a frustrating thing in it, and I would still say that my prevailing sense coming out of that was like, I liked that a lot, it was good. But like also, in those 7 hours that we played, we managed to have like a single event that was more like surprising and exciting as opposed to surprising and stupefying than the entirety of Somnium Files. Because by the time we reached the end of Somnium Files, especially the first time I experienced the story, like some of those big bombshells that they want to be really cool ideas are either like undercut by the fact that they didn't set them up correctly with the telling of the story, or are so like implausible and ridiculous that like it's not exciting because you're just trying to like reconcile in your brain how you were ever supposed to guess or understand the circumstances without them literally spending like 6 hours of gameplay just explaining to you like the whole story that like didn't make it into the cut of the game or something. Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. Ditto. Game 1 was a 10 out of 10 game held in a 6 out of 10 game shell. And what's really interesting about that is, we had some people who hadn't seen the game before come in late in our recent playthrough and sort of comment on something that I kind of just like lost track of in the scheme of like my familiarity with the game, which is that like the production values of AI Somnium Files were good. They were very good. It's a fully voice acted visual novel with like above average animation, like a lot, like spared no expense putting that game together. And it's even remarkable by comparison to the Zero Escape series, which like is perhaps probably one of the most well-known visual novel series of all time, and has like really kind of middling production values for the most part, which like we'll talk about in greater detail at some point. But like it went so far as like they tried to improve the production values of that series in each game, to the point that like the first game in the series was just like 2D anime style drawing, and the third game is like fully cinematic 3D model cutscenes. Now, the quality of those is debatable, which again we'll get into. But all of this just to say, like, AI AI Somnium Files had so much potential to be great that felt like it was squandered. And even though there's like so much left to do and discover in this game, and there could be all sorts of stupid stuff, we're off to an exceptional start. Like, Nirvana Initiative has exceeded my expectations of what I thought we could possibly get from a Somnium Files sequel, and we're 7 hours into it. And I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, so like at the end of the last stream, the main thing is we started proper our investigation of the half-body serial killings, which I will reiterate is somehow a serial killing with one man, two halves of one man, who is the victim. Hopefully at some point that will be addressed. But at the end of our first stream, we had a Somnium where we connected with Ryki. He's one of our two protagonists this time around. Mizuki from the first game is now an Abyss agent, special agent, whatever the title is. She's a sinker with an AI companion in her skull, as is Ryuki, but like 6 years after this case started, he had sort of fallen apart. He had witnessed something really traumatic and just like failed his resolve check, a la Darkest Dungeon, and just became a mess. And so like Mizuki synced with him and tried to get him to provide the necessary information for her to piece together the mystery that he had already started working on. And so the entirety of last stream began what is perhaps the longest, most in-depth flashback in the history of fiction. We're basically led to believe that every single thing we do or say or think as the player character during this part of the story is all part of just the absolute most comprehensive flashback of all time, outdoing even the first game's attempt to point out something that happened in the past, be like, hey, do you remember when I told you this exact thing in detail, and then flash back to the whole original sentence, which I still think is very funny. But now we're doing it on just a truly staggering scale. And we basically interviewed everyone who had been in the TV studio when the first half of the half-body victim showed up, which led us, through a series of coincidences of a sort, to investigate a certain lab. I'm not going to remember it. It's a Japanese name that I don't remember it. It was like a genetics lab that was run by a really weird dude with an enormous head, and we used the new wink sync technology to determine that he knew about this augmented reality video that seemed to be a clue tying to the murders at hand, even though he told us he didn't know anything about it, which was enough justification for us to violate his Phoenix rights, throw him in the dream machine, and sync with him. And we had a really fun and interesting Somnium where we had to combine attributes of different professions to pass certain obstacles. It was very interesting. I liked that a lot. It had like goals and purpose, and almost everything in it could be reasoned. It was like a puzzle instead of some nonsense. But the really thrilling thing for me is that the entirety of the time you're working with this machine that combines two ideas to give you access to something that you didn't previously have access to. And the entire time you had an option NA, which you just assume is like, this one's broken. It doesn't mean anything. Like, not applicable, whatever. Like, it just doesn't come up. And then going through all the puzzles, you find IX, which your characters interpret as Roman numeral 9. And you input that into the machine, and you have, like, one last thing you're supposed to do. And as I'm working it out, I'm like, wait a minute. NA, IX, NICE. Like Nizet laws, the big, weird, interstellar conspiracy theory that the like tumor-ridden iris is like dead set is real in the first game. That like only Oda believes is true because he's, you know, Oda.
Oh my gosh.
And like I can't emphasize to you enough that like I think that the main twist of the first game is really interesting, and I think the game does such a poor job of setting it up so that like when you finally find out about it, you're like, well, how would I even, like, you basically have to tell me that's the thing going on because the clues don't like point to it. It's a great idea, but it's not like a, oh my gosh, it's not oh my gosh, it's like, oh darn. But like when that one came through in this game, I was like, wait, Nice, like that stupid thing from the first game is now like real and important. That's amazing. That's incredible. Like I was so hyped for that. I'm still so hyped for that. I wrote a fun tweet about how excited I was, but it got eaten when when my computer crashed. I've been talking for a long time, and we're like definitely not gonna get anything done. So like this better work. Hey, my computer didn't crash. That's exciting. So let's load this. I don't like that it prominently displays a date that isn't the date I saved the game. Like, I understand, but I don't like it.
I thought it would be easier to talk to you this way.
The Bat's 490 code. I solved it.
The ultimate dream that humanity has
This
been
guy's
yearning
weird.
for thousands of years. It will soon become a reality.
If he's willing to lie about one thing, he's willing to lie about everything.
Okay then, let's begin.
The experiment worked!
I knew that they were going to show us this horrifying image. So, yeah, basically, we determined through that guy's Somnium that he had some connection to Nizet laws, which is, you know, the secret organization running everything in the world that is trying to propagate an artificial intelligence throughout the universe. Supposedly, like, some signal sent to Earth contain an artificial intelligence, and all of the resources here on Earth are being devoted to continuing to spread that AI throughout the universe. And so when we did that, we found that before we could even save the game, the investigation went straight to the Japanese branch of Nizet laws, which is all sorts of goofy because it suggests that Nizet laws is not actually a shadowy cabal, but some weird public entity that people just know about. Like, yeah, you know, like the Japanese embassy for Nizet laws? Let's see, what phenomenon do you like? Poltergeist, ectoplasm, rapping sound, or near-death experience? I assume rapping sound is meant to be like electronic voice phenomenon type thing, like a spooky ghost noise, as opposed to like rap music. Ectoplasm's a note for me because like it's just goo. I mean, it has a paranormal origin, but it's just goo, and like that just doesn't sound pleasant. Near-death experience, like, definitely not favorite. Who picks that? Who's that for? Would that really be your pick, Demolition? If you were like, oh man, I wish that I could have one of these for, and it's like near-death experience? That's troubling. I feel like I'm inclined to say Poltergeist because, I mean, it's probably between Poltergeist and rapping sound, because they're the two that aren't outright upsetting. but like Poltergeist seems more interesting. By the way, this is our eyebally. It's a Tamagotchi that we give random answers to every 20 minutes of gameplay, and then it will grow up and give us eyeballs. And I'm not making any part of that up. The game has also made it very clear that these can happen at any time. And in fact, it came up like twice during Somnium last week. The vast majority of the answers, I guess not the vast majority. The majority of the answers I've given are loving, and I don't know why that's true. Clay pigeons are shot with this E. I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh, it evolved to Hitomi E? Tama digivolved into Hitomi and gave us 1,000 eyeballs? I became an adulty. Thanks for talking to me so much, E. Eyeball strategy guide has been added to the manual in the file. Age is adult, will not grow any further. This game raises so many questions. Wait, thinking of next question. We'll wait. Not so we still hold on. I have so many questions now. So we will still be posed questions by Tamagotchi, but it won't grow up. What is the purpose of that? Hold on. Where's menu? Bring me. Okay, we're in the menu. Where is my? Where? Wait a minute. I can get my performance review? God, there's so much happening in this world. There's so much. But where's my strategy guide? It said the strategy guide was added to menu, didn't it? Open album. Is this the strategy guide? All of the stages of evolution are based on various characters from the previous game, or maybe just both games, I don't know. I don't think of Hitomi as having, like, weird hair like that. Hello, Neko, welcome to the stream. We've accomplished nothing because we immediately got sidetracked by our Tama digivolving. I have, like, so many questions, and the game is really intent on not answering them. So, like, what happens now? If it won't grow any further, am I meant to, like, not answer questions and let it die so that it restarts and that I can digivolve it again? I just don't understand what I'm doing here. This is fine, whatever. But, like, also, apparently we can get a job performance review? Okay. We increased Sinker Class C2 and got costumes, Mizuki outfit, Ryki outfit, and cat ears. Okay. I feel like I sort of understand this. This feels more straightforward than what we were just doing. So now we go to Tama's room and put on cat ears, correct? We're not playing the game anymore. This is the game. Hey, Angel, welcome to the stream. You've missed nothing. I was very excited for the story, but all of the mini-games that have been added have distracted me. Which is, like, very Japanese. Right. This happened last time, too, right? This is definitely the worst feature in the game. I'm not doing, like, do not adjust your set. This is what the PS5 is doing right now. You should still be able to hear it, assuming you have audio on. But this is just it. And it did this last time, too. This is definitely the worst feature in this game. It really, I probably just should never use this, is the takeaway. I don't remember exactly how long it took before. It was enough to concern me, and then eventually it worked. So I think I might have like toggled out to the main menu and back. Can I? Hang on. That might have been a placebo effect, but I do remember doing that as well. Oh, yeah, okay. That does seem to work. Okay, that's really bad. Like, that's not how that should work.
Thought the whole nice thing was just a rumor, but it actually exists.
I know, weird, right? Costumes now available for previously cleared scenes. That's like a lot of stuff, huh? Convert 2 out of 10. Wow, there's like a lot of stuff you can get, huh?
I take it all off instead.
Oh, Tama.
Yeah, looks good.
So do I have to... Are cat ears a whole costume? Why are they not in headwear?
This is the face I make when Ryuki blows his nose with a 10,000 yen note.
Why any of that? Oh, okay. No, wait, hold on. Get costumes and bonus menu. So I have to go to... So I have to go to the bonus menu, which isn't involved in the already broken dress-up simulator, in order to get costumes for the dress-up simulator. You realize how dumb that is, right? Save and open bonus from title screen. This just isn't how this should work. Did we not playtest this at all? Was this the last thing we did before shipping the game? Okay, we saved the game. Outfit. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, have 700 eyeballs.
Babe?
Okay. This, like, just for real, I'm not losing my mind, right? Like, this is a horrible way for this to operate. Like, you literally can't use your in-game currency in-game.
Giraffe.
You have to save and close the game and go to the main menu in order to buy something, which you then have to reload the game and load like a memory cache failing aspects of the game. Like, it's just, this isn't correct. This is just not, I can skip this.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, user interface is, like, definitely my biggest prevailing complaint so far. Okay, Tama's room. And then... It's just, like... Yeah, like, what is that about?
It's just a rumor.
It just, like, doesn't work correctly if you don't pass through the home screen on the... Why?
How about... Meow meow. This is how the four of them reacted when they... Earlier, Boss was working while wearing this. She's starting to lose...
Nah, it's gotta be the Atami shirt, right?
This makes me feel like summer is coming to an end.
Okay, we did it. She's going to Atami with cat ears on. This is what we all wanted, right? I assume? God, that was an ordeal. I feel like I need a nap. Let's investigate. So, just to recap, because we need another recap after doing all of that.
Gosh.
We are here, and here is the Japanese branch of Nizet Laws, which is the organization that secretly runs everything and is trying to use all of Earth's resources to spread an artificial intelligence throughout the universe with sci-fi technology. All caught up to speed? Great. One thing I didn't notice before the end of the last stream, pretty sure that's Saito's former bodyguard there, huh? By Saito, I mean So, really. Sosajima, congressman. How did you... Oh, wait, I can wink sync with her? I could just do that apropos of nothing? Now, I know that the game is established that requires a lot of energy, but I don't see any sort of resource gauge that would prohibit me from just constantly doing that to people. Dude says, I don't know, I kind of like her default outfit for the exact reasons the designers made that her default outfit. I see that you, like Zacula, are an individual of culture. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I'll say this, I'm really tempted to wink sync immediately, just because I would like to know what the consequences of doing that are, but I don't think that I will do that, because it just seems so bad. What were you doing around murder time?
Judging by the way you asked that, I assume that's Jin's estimated time of death?
Nah, I just wanted to retroactively plan a date with you using time travel.
Well, yes.
I was in Okinawa from the night of the 8th. I had a seminar to attend on the 9th and 10th. I returned to Tokyo late last night.
I checked the logs for hotels and airports, for smartphone access points, and the security footage for each location.
Dang.
It's true that Tokiko was in Okinawa from the 8th to the 10th.
So she has an alibi.
As long as you presume Jin's body wasn't brought back with her from Okinawa.
Did she say that weird, or is it just me, a Westerner with no real knowledge of how to speak Japanese? I wonder if there's an achievement for wing syncing everyone in the game. I don't think you can do it to literally everyone in the game, but, like, there may be an achievement for doing it to everyone you can do it to. Like, that's a plausible thing. But we've already talked to, like, several people. I mean, I guess it was before we used the first wing sync. Maybe now you can do it to anyone. I don't know what the consequences of that might be. Wow, you know what? Maybe you can do it to everyone now. This is, like, really the first conversation we've had since we formally unlocked it. Hey, say something funny.
There, I said it.
It occurs to me, I'm not sure I know exactly what that man sounded like in the last game off the top of my head. If I make him do that again, will the same thing happen?
Your badge.
That's something phony.
What is this? A vaudeville routine? That wasn't funny at all.
It's like a little funny. Let's burn him right back. So you're Tokiko's secretary? Oh,
Yeah,
sick burn.
but I'm also her bodyguard.
Oh, the answer was actually yes. I was expecting him to be upset because that wasn't his job, but it is. He just also is the thing I expect him to be.
I used to be a bodyguard for a certain politician until the end of last year. He was a piece of human garbage.
Accurate. I don't feel like this was this man's voice before, but I don't recall. It's not like MoMA, where, like, it's the same voice actor, but the read is different, and it annoys me every time he talks. I just don't think this is the same guy. But, like, also fairly minor character, so I might just be misremembering.
Slugged him in the face and resigned. Then ended up here thanks to an acquaintance introducing me.
What acquaintance is that? Should we know that person? About
I was
not.
only hired recently. I don't know much about it, really.
Alright. We're gonna wing sync with everyone. Well... No, you still have to access the map to leave. I should be able to do that. I should be able to, like, wait until the end and do it, just in case there's, like, consequences. Oh, it could be Mama. I can't actually recall if you end up asking Mama about the existence of Nizet laws in the last game. It seems plausible, but I don't remember a specific instance when you would have done that. But it is the case that at the end of the first game, the bodyguard character is, like, hanging out at Marble. So, like, that could definitely be it. So how did you end up here in charge of the Japanese branch of Nizet laws, as opposed to, say, the Egyptian branch of Nizet laws?
I had a very hard time finding the place. After all, NIZE is a secret organization hidden from the public.
Okay, but, like, if that's true, how come we were able to just, like, look it up? Like, Google it or whatever.
That's a good thing Boss just happened to know someone who knew this location. Otherwise, we would have been out of luck.
Okay, that's a bridge too far for me. That strains credibility. Because, like...
Gosh!
How is it that all of that stuff would come up in the first game? And, like, I mean, again, I don't think we specifically have a conversation with Boss about it, but, like, it seems pretty radical that this secret organization whose belief in its existence, like, literally alters the course of the history of the last game. And, like, we don't, like, we have Aiba do a search for, like, information about it, and she can't find anything conclusive. She doesn't, like, consult with Boss about it? I don't know. It's just too weird for me. Like, the whole Nizet Laws thing works because, like, it's so secret that, like, nobody really knows if it's true. If Boss just, like, happens to know it's real and has it on her speed dial, like, that's just a little too much.
Even after I got inside the building, it wasn't easy. The guards, the security gates. If I hadn't met Mamoru at the entrance, I probably wouldn't even have made it to this office.
I know about Abyss, and I know it's trustworthy.
This is also a pretty hot take considering his relationship with Date in the last game.
That's why I let you through to talk to the president.
Yeah, it hasn't escaped my notice that this man is Mamoru, which I don't recall if we learn his name in the last game. It's very possible I just ignored it, because he's, like, not a super major character. But, like, we have Mamoru, we have the mermaid, like, hang on. Do we have the breakdown again? She goes by Mame. I want to say her name's, like, Tamame, but that sounds wrong. Sure. Oh, this is weird. We have a binder for 6 years ago people and present people. Well, we're in the 6 years ago. Satana... Moma. Shoma. Mamoru. Mame. It's just, like, it's insane. Oh, no. It's not Mame, it's Amame. But she goes by Mame, at least in that previous scene, I believe. So we literally have Tama, Amame, Mama, Moma, Momaru. Like, it's getting out of hand. It's just a lot. Also, like, a bunch of people we haven't met yet. Anyway. I do feel like it's a really hot take that he's like, yeah, I trust the organization that plugs people into the mind-reading machine. I guess because they outed your boss for being scum. So what is it you do here?
Anyway, I was surprised. I had heard of NICE, the secret organization.
It's not very secret. Apparently now everyone knows about
I
it.
thought it was just an urban legend. I can't believe it actually exists.
Yes, there has been all sorts of gossip about us.
It's kind of weird that when she says that, the devil appears. Also, just like, incidentally, that one statue on her desk, there's nothing on the desk but that one statue. Like, you definitely pull that, and then an entrance to the Batcave appears, right? Like, definitely.
Some claim we're a secret society of Satanists, or that we have something to do with a sequence of binary code that came from space. But that's all nonsense. Made-up stories that become more and more embellished as they were passed on.
I like to believe that they're a paper-producing company.
Rumors are quite a terrifying thing. NICE is a perfectly legitimate ideological society.
There's something immediately troubling to me when there's something that's already, like, sort of questionable in its integrity, and it's being described as perfectly legitimate. It's like, ooh, now I know it's not legitimate. Like, that's definitely not true. And it says, I just want to say I dig the small water feature floor piece. It's pretty cool. That's like a real infinity pool. It's actually kind of like a thing that I used to joke about in college. Like the infinity fall, which was like a waterfall that led into an infinity pool that like somehow like fed into like a Futurama tube that like goes back up to the top. So like you could just definitely loop it forever.
Our headquarters are located in New York, with many branches in cities throughout the world. This is one such branch.
Tokiko, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but you are, like, extremely suspicious. Can I have your, Oscar or whatever? There's a glass doll here. That's all we have to say about that? Alright. Nice is a what now?
This is a common misconception, but NICE is not a religious organization. We are a group of like-minded individuals who act together based on a certain understanding of the universe.
Okay, so you want me to believe that you're like the Phoenix Foundation, or like the Foundation for Law and Government. But I still don't like you introducing yourself as totally legitimate or whatever. It's definitely a cult.
And that is?
The simulation theory. Have you heard of it?
Oh, here we go! Here we go! This is Uchikoshi's favorite, is to let someone monologue about fringe science.
That the world is an artificial simulation of reality created by someone or something. That's the theory.
You're saying everything in this world we're living in isn't real?
Yes. It's a false world constructed with specific rules by a program.
Tino says, she knows she's in a game. God, that would be something, wouldn't it? If just like all of Nizet Laws just broke the fourth wall because they're like, I understand, it's a video game.
And if it is made by a program, there must by necessity be imperfections, edges, or seams.
That's a slight logical leap.
To find these seams, or to create them, is our objective.
That's fun.
Why would you do that?
If you tear at the seams of a cloth, it will unravel, and a hole will be created. Thusly, we will tear at the seams of the program until it is unraveled, and its people are emancipated.
For some reason, before she actually read the end of the line, my brain interpreted that as emaciated. And I'm like, that's weird. That's a weird goal.
That is our ultimate goal.
This old hag has completely lost it.
It's already Tamagotchi time. So hang on. There is a reset button. Do we press the reset button? Do we do it, chat? Let's... Hang on. What's the one that's active? This one? The corner indicates adults will not grow any further. So this reset would, at least in theory, revert the Tamagotchi to its natural state so we could turn it into a different character instead of Hitomi. Now, a question I have is it Hitomi because we maxed out loving, or is it Hitomi because our highest two stats are loving and crazy? Reset for full crazy? That does sound like a great idea. Reset eyeballies and start from beginning. Current character will leave to another timeline. That's a weird way of putting that, but sure. That's fine. See you in another timeline, and then she burns away to nothing. That's a little upsetting. Hello. Yes, I will help you become an adultie. What do you think of shrimp? Okay. We've seen this question before, but what is the craziest answer? Last time we answered red, I don't remember if it was... That might have been the crazy answer. I kind of like that two of our options are hard and hard to eat. I feel like tasty is... brave or impish? I feel like it's one of the ones we weren't getting a lot of before. I'm really inclined to say, like, hard. Neko says hardship probably leads to her digivolving into Mama. That's an excellent point, Neko, that we probably can get Mama Gachi, and we really should try to do that. It's juicy and sidey. Yeah, that does sound like something Mama would say. Okay, sorry, what were we doing? How will you tear the seams of the world?
The intersection between the warp and weft. That's where the seam can occur.
I don't understand.
You will someday.
That's upsetting. I don't like that.
It is a prophecy. It will be fulfilled eventually.
Hi.
What is that?
Why would you show me your, like, secret handshake?
It's a hand sign we use.
Just seems like a weird thing to do.
It's meant to resemble the sign behind me.
I mean, it doesn't. Like, I get it, but it doesn't, because you don't have enough fingers or hands for that. Oh, this feels very contradiction. Can you show me that hand sign again? This hand sign is supposed to be the weird tic-tac-toe diagonal thing. Again, anytime I'm doing something stupid, I just want you to imagine that 6 years from now, Ryuki is talking to Mizuki, and he's like, and then I asked her to show the hand sign, and then she quietly did it, and then put her hands back at her side, and then I asked her to do the hand sign again, and then she, like, did it, and, like, didn't make a big deal of it, and then a third time I asked her to show me the hand sign. Alright, what about Bats 490?
Considering the fact that you are here, I assume it would be pointless to hide it. Indeed, I had my subordinates create that video.
Man, I'd love to see that corporate memo. Just, like, to know how you ask that.
Bats 490 was an ARG, just a game. But there was a high-level encryption hiding a message within. We have been seeking high IQ individuals with the capability to decode it.
Is she gonna assume that we did it? Because we asked, like, a 12-year-old boy about it.
The purpose was to recruit them into Nyes.
So this QR video was made for the same reason?
I am aware of that video. I saw it on the news.
I feel like if she just answered yes to that, it would be incredibly incriminating. Because the QR video he's talking about is the one that, like, showed up on that sign with Jin Fudore's body. So it's like, yeah, so, like, you organized the mysterious message that came with half a murdered guy, right? And she's like, ah, you caught me.
However, it's completely unrelated to Nyes. I assume someone made it with the intent to imitate Bats 490.
That's reasonably plausible.
What do you think, Tama?
Hard to say on that alone.
Yeah, could you show me that hand sign again? So this is the hand sign that's supposed to be the symbol behind her. It's just, like, I really can't get over... I mean, like, it's really funny anytime a video game lets you do repetition endlessly. Like, this is always funny to me. But, like, it's really strange that, like, we weren't talking about anything in particular, and then she just goes, like, how do you do this? Yeah. No, like this. It goes, like... This is the sign behind me. Like, are you okay? Do you need, like, do you need to sit down? You need a drink of water? You feeling, like, dehydrated? Like, we were just, like, talking about, like, QR codes and stuff, and you're just, like, throwing up gang signs. I don't know. Yeah, could you tell me about Chikara? Because, like, I don't understand that guy.
Do you mean the man from Horodori Institute of Genetics?
I do, apparently.
So you do know him. I'm actually here because of a tip I got from him.
That's a really generous way of putting that.
Chikara is under arrest?
That would also be a very generous way of putting that. Says, no, the other Chikara. I mean, I don't know how common a name that is in Japan, but, like, maybe, I don't know. It would be funny, though, if she, like, described him using some of his really unique characteristics. The man with the enormous head, weird glasses, and the French pirate shirt? No, different one. Because she thinks that Tokiko is trying to use ninjutsu. Yeah, that seems plausible. Do you think that Nizet Laws knows about chakra usage?
No, he was just released earlier. We didn't have enough evidence to keep him detained.
I see.
And could you show me that hand sign? Got it. About your relationship with Chikara. I would love it if her response to that was like, how dare you? I don't have a relationship with Chikara, and then, like, gags a little bit.
Chikara is a former member of NICE.
How do you get kicked out of NICE?
Though this was over 20 years ago. When he left us, he became an avid believer in the Order of Percent.
What? There's, like, a rival gang?
Order of Percent?
It's an organization that split off from NICE. You could say they are a sect.
What is happening?
The Order of Percent is a religious sect, whereas we are an ideological society. I wouldn't know about that.
Accidentally pressed right trigger trying to set my controller down to make a stupid joke, and it skipped through dialogue, because apparently that's what that button does. It's a religious sect, whereas we are an ideological society. Despite our common roots, we are heading in completely different directions. Ryuki, then how did Chikara know that NICE created Bats 490? I wouldn't know about that. Sarah said she didn't even spell percent. I think that's because that they're represented by this. You have to do like a hand sign with like percentage. So like if you spell it out, it doesn't make as much sense.
Perhaps he asked an acquaintance from NICE.
Could you show me that just real quick? Okay. I'm just gonna sync with you. Yeah, I'm not shocked by this.
What is going on here?
Maybe she's not thinking about anything at all.
Her mind is completely blank?
Maybe she reached a state of selflessness.
I think it's more likely that she's like trained in the defense against the dark arts or something. Yeah, here's how you know that I'm like the target demographic for a game like this. Is like, that looks real stupid. You look real stupid doing that, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I think it's cool how he like does a live long and prosper and then turns it into a laser eye. Reads their mind. What a cool anime thing to do. So it looks like perhaps the limitation is that you can only use Wink Sync once per scene, because now I can't do it on Mamoru, even though that was an option previously available to me. And even though we didn't get anything from Tokiko, like, I feel like that was probably the correct thing to do. But also, now we have at least a slightly better understanding of the restrictions of that ability. Okay, so, like, what am I actually supposed to do here? Because it's not that. Like, did I look at her? She's the president. Great. The symbol. Let's look at the symbol.
That's the non-Yapal X, the symbol of NICE.
Get out of here with that. My concern is that this symbol definitely feels like something that would have come out of World's End Club, and I'm not into it. Well, she did imply that it was... that it used a bunch of energy and required her to recharge. But that wasn't explained in any sort of mechanical game terms. Right? Like, that could be like once per time you drive your car, or once per scene, or even could be on a cooldown like your Tamagotchi.
Non-Yapal means consisting of 9. You know how there's single, double, triple? Non-Yapal is the 9th.
So non-Yapal X means 9 X's?
Oh yeah, it's one of those like logic puzzles, right? Where they're like, count the X's! And if you look at it like a certain way, it's like, oh, like 4 of them. And then if you actually do it, it's like a billion.
Seems so.
Did you know that Nizatlaws is derived from 9x at Lozenge?
This is so Uchikoshi. Like, I can't even... Like, I don't have the vocabulary to explain to you why this line of dialogue is so intensely Uchikoshi.
Lozenge referring to a diamond shape.
Sure, why not?
In other words, Nizatlaws means the 9 X's of the diamond. By the way, would you mind if I asked you a question?
What was that thing you did before when you were, like, looking at me through your fingers? It was super weird.
What is it?
Are you perhaps a Freyer?
Freyer?
Fray isn't fraying at the fabric of the matrix or whatever, I assume.
I am asking the person within you.
So stupid. Free to fray? Which, you know, free to play is like a gaming expression. So free to fray could then translate to, like... could translate frayer to player. So she's asking if we're the player of the game because she can see through the fourth wall because she's from Nizatlaws? Listen, I want to be very clear about this. This is my kind of stupid. I'm not going to pretend that this isn't stupid. And, like, I should probably want to, like, make fun of how stupid this is. But this is why I'm here. This is, I'm associated with the 5 R's of Ricola. I bet that their logo is like a big, giant horn or whatever.
What?
I will ask you one more time. Are you a Freyer?
A Freyer? What am I? In any interpretation I can think of, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. Because, like, basically I could think of this 2 ways. One, that stupid thing I just said, where she's, like, literally making some veiled reference at the fact that someone is playing the game and she sees through the cracks of reality and it's, like, aware of the fact she's in a video game, like we were talking about, whatever. But, like, also, just, like I said, my initial reaction is, like, because she was already talking about, like, wearing away the fabric of reality, that, like, a Freyer would be someone who is, like, trying to get to the truth of existence or whatever. So, like, I feel like in either of those cases I'm going to answer yes. But this is, like, a weird... Like, I'm not sure if this is a branching point. I don't really know how the mechanics of the flowchart for this game work yet. So this feels weird. It's really hard to say what the consequences might be.
Hey, Ryuki.
As I thought. Then you've realized this world is fictional. Am I correct?
This world is fictional. Just Monica.
Ryuki, what's gotten into you?
Then please tell me the nil number.
So
If
stupid.
you truly are a Freyer, you should know it.
Alright, I respect this. Obviously, I don't have this answer. But, like... This is more... One of the maybe few things that Zero Time Dilemma does well is that rather than using the traditional gating for story purposes, like Somnium Files did, which was that, like, you would reach a certain point in the story and they didn't want you to get there yet. Like, there wasn't actually, like, knowledge you specifically needed from another branch in some of those instances. But, like, it just didn't want you to go there until you had done other stuff. And so, like, it would just be, like, sort of game over! And then you'd have to, like, go back. Zero Time Dilemma had a few things that were sort of, like, if you had knowledge from other possible ways the story could unfold, then you would, like, know the answer to certain questions, like, posed to you by characters, like this. And, like, if you entered the correct information, you would go on. But if you didn't give the right answer, like, there were reasons why you couldn't keep going. Check on the back of the box. Yeah, like, the frequency for the spy channel is in the back of the instruction book, right, Ditto? Yeah, I feel like 0 is about as close as I'm getting to knowing the nil number, but I don't think it's 0. Incorrect. I'm just messing with you.
Don't know.
Nah, I have no idea what's going on.
In other words, you lied.
Yeah, I'm a real piece of garbage. I slick my hair back and I eat sloppy steaks all the time, man.
Oh good, she saw right through it. I thought that I could get her to keep talking if I faked my way through it.
Way to go.
What is a nil number? What is a frayer? Fray. Right. I remember now.
It's free to fray.
It was written on that sign.
Fray to free. Fray can mean fight, but it can also mean to wear out or tear.
Remember what Tokiko said.
Yeah, I guess if it's, I misremembered. The phrasing on the side is evocative of free-to-play, but is more jumbled. Free-to-free does more directly suggest an alignment with the Nizet Law's mission statement, because they're trying to, like, emancipate humanity by fraying a hole in reality. So you fray your way to freedom.
Their ultimate goal is to break down this world and emancipate its people.
Miss Shigure, are you sure Nyes didn't make the QR video?
We did not.
But the word fray was written on that sign in the QR code.
We of Nyes are only involved in Bats 490, which we created half a year ago.
Yeah, free to play. That seems correct, Neko.
We are not the ones who created the QR video. The word fray being displayed on that sign must be a coincidence.
That can't be just a coincidence.
Oh, but it can. After all, we are living in nothing but a simulation.
I thought for sure she was going to say Yellow Submarine.
A false world created by a program. And such programs always have some glitches lurking under the surface.
Oh my god, I just had a really horrible thought. I'm gonna be, like, really upset if the program that she's referring to that created this world ends up being the, like, final boss from, World's End Club. Like, that would be, like, meta-breaking narrative that would, like, deeply upset me for eternity. I would never be okay again.
We call such glitches scenes.
You know, it's like when you see the same black cat walk through the hallway multiple times.
Coincidences like this are a manifestation of such glitches. Proof of imperfection. Proof of the scenes. The appearance of Jin's corpse is also likely to be an example of such phenomenon.
It's a total coincidence. Whoops.
What?
Are you familiar with the Philadelphia experiment?
I'm so happy. I love this garbage. Yes, more of this. This is just what the Zero Escape games are. It's kind of just a series of people talking about science fiction nonsense, and then there's like escape rooms in the middle. That's basically what those games are.
It's a top-secret military experiment that's said to have taken place in the American city of Philadelphia on October 28, 1943. A powerful electromagnetic wave was fired towards the USS Eldridge, a destroyer-class warship.
This is now we just need the lady from the Digimon game. Yeah, that would tie in. You mean like the boss lady who is super good at making coffee? She could tell us all about ley lines for like a really long time.
Supposedly, the reason for doing this was to conceal the ship from showing up on radar. But as soon as the experiment began, something strange happened.
Yeah, the big metal ship experienced a bad time being shocked with electromagnetism.
The Eldridge was enshrouded in a greenish mist, then vanished.
For some reason, my brain went straight to, like, just the most complicated quantum leap scenario. Theorizing that an entire battleship could travel through time within its own lifetime, the Eldritch was blasted with electromagnetism and vanished. Every single crew member awoke to find itself facing a reflection that was not its own. Absolute stupid.
Afterward, it appeared at a military port in Norfolk, nearly 200 miles away from the shipyard in Philadelphia. Sometime later, it reappeared in its original position again.
So you're saying it teleported?
Just like the chronosphere from the Red Alert games.
Well, it's nothing but an urban legend. Just
I relayed Thomas' story directly to Tokiko for reasons. I don't know what you're referring to, Angel. If you have completed this game, this is going to be a zero tolerance spoiler situation. Not that I have any reason to know that you have done that. This is just a general warning. I know some people were talking about, like, discussing spoilers, like, outside of chat, but, like, chat is a no spoiler zone. For real. For real. Like, normally I'm like, please don't, but, like, zero tolerance, please.
Yes, exactly. However, the story doesn't end there. When the USS Eldridge returned to Philadelphia...
Is that, like, a historical thing? Like, I don't actually know much about the real-life Philadelphia experiment other than, like, kind of that it happened or alleged to happen. I don't really know.
There were several sailors on board. Some of them had melted like a rotten banana.
Cool.
While others ended up with their bodies entirely burned and blackened.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was like... I wouldn't put it as, like, an urban legend, but, like, that's probably close enough, Cat. It's... I'd put it in, like, fringe science, where it's, like, a thing with supernatural elements that's sort of alleged to have happened, but, like, doesn't widely have proof or whatever. Which, like, again, is just, like, the Uchikoshiest Uchikoshi of all of them.
Others were said to have merged with the steel hull, their bodies having become a piece of the ship.
Right, but if you replace pieces of the ship with the crew members, is it still Theseus's ship, or is it an entirely new ship?
Does that sound familiar?
You mean Jin?
It's an interesting theory.
Are you saying his right half teleported here?
It isn't impossible. If a seam was torn, that is.
Impossible.
But she just said it wasn't impossible. Why would you lie to me like this? And it's Theseus Jim Stugreg's ship. So, yeah, that's probably about right. Yoyagi Park. Hey, this place looks kind of cool. Dude, we're getting nothing done tonight. We're just farting around, man. We are like 0% practically to get to or complete a Somnium.
You like this park, don't you, Ryuki?
I like the view.
I feel calm when I'm around nature. It's like I can feel the buzz inside me quieting down.
That's lightly troubling.
Tama, what do you think about what Tokiko said earlier?
Oh, worth noting that time I didn't use the map to end the scene. So I should be potentially diligent about firing off Wing Sync before it might necessarily seem necessary. If I want to. Still sort of establishing some ground rules there.
Is something like teleportation really possible?
Dude, we have like a brain control machine.
Hey, come on. I told you the Philadelphia experiment is just an urban legend.
Did she actually say that? I think she implied it. I don't remember her actually saying it.
How else can you explain what happened with Jin? We can't deny that his right half suddenly appeared out of nowhere.
Jeez. Then why don't we find out for ourselves?
Is that not what we've been doing the whole time? Is that not like our entire goal of what we're doing? Is to find out what happened?
What do you mean? You want to go to the studio right now?
No need. Just close your eyes.
I was cautioned by Aladdin that I should not dare close my eyes.
My eyes?
Just do it.
Oh my god, she has a riding crop! Everyone scatter!
Okay.
Where is Zacula? I need Zacula to be aware of this. It's important to me. Uh-oh. Oh, I thought we blue screened the PlayStation for a second. It would be in line with my day.
What the? Did we teleport here?
I just got done telling you I don't think that's real.
Are you serious?
We're in Studio Devita, aren't we?
It just seems that way. We're not actually there.
Last night, I scanned every nook and cranny of the scene.
This takes less power than a wink sync?
What you're looking at now is what I replicated using that data.
Wow. It's like I'm actually there. The corpse looks so real.
For some reason, I really want a cutaway. In the game, Sam and Max hit the road. There's like a sequence where you like break into like a rich person's house and have to complete like a really short virtual reality video game in order to like get a key item to advance the plot. And when you do that, like it shows this like really janky like early 90s iteration of what a virtual reality world would look like. And then it keeps cutting back to like what the guy looks like with this like stupid like VR helmet on, and he's like walking on a treadmill and he just looks completely stupid. And like that's what when Ryuki's like, it feels like I'm really there. I just want to cut to like something stupid like that. Yeah, Conroy Bumpus, the like weird Elvis send up.
Want me to put a mosaic over it?
Uncensored is fine.
Now, less
Ooh.
digressing and more investigating.
Uncensored is fine. Get the writing crop back out. I don't know what's happening.
Your objective is to solve the mystery behind the sudden appearance of Jin's right half.
No, but like again, that's like literally everything that we've done in the game, at the very least, since we started this incredibly long and detailed flashback.
All right, let's start looking around.
Virtual reality activation? This is cool! This game is so much cooler than Somnium Files 1. I'm really happy about this. The VR allows you to walk around. Thomas special vision modes such as X-ray can be applied to everything. Virtual reality, by changing the special mode, what you can inspect will change. Utilize this to find hidden information. This feels kind of Phoenix Wright E. Oh, hang on. At any time has come to pass. How many legs do you like? I'm kind of surprised that like 8 isn't an answer here. 0? Why is 0 an answer? What is our target? Are we trying to be crazy? Is full crazy the goal? I mean, 0 for snakes, sure, but like, maybe that's brave? I feel like 6 and 0 in some combination are like brave and crazy. 3 is probably impish. 2 is probably loving, is my guess. My guess is that 6 would be a crazy answer. You're right though, Neko. Mama probably would say 3, but like, I guess the trick is that if we want a Mamagotchi, that we can't simply try to answer the questions the way Mama would. It's most important to create a profile of the attribute or attributes that we think Mama would have. So, like, I'm gonna trust my instinct here. I'm trying to go crazy. And I think 6 is the crazy answer. How is that the loving answer? How is that the loving answer? I'm fine with it not being the one that I wanted it to be, but I would like an explanation as to why that, of all of the answers on the board, why that would be the loving answer. I'm just physically incapable of not getting love as a type. I don't know what that says about me. Corpse.
Like I mentioned yesterday, Jin's estimated time of death is 6 o'clock on February 9th. Based on the time his corpse appeared, it should be about 40 hours ago. Rigor mortis seems to be fading already. It's not completely gone yet, but the body has somewhat softened at this point. It should take more time to get to this stage if it's been on a rooftop in the winter. That's why I think this corpse was kept indoors, someplace warm.
Feels like a slightly weird conclusion. If a decomposing body was kept someplace warm, wouldn't it be pretty advanced? Especially after like 40 hours? Obtain information. Rigor mortis was already fading and the body had somewhat softened by the time it was found. What the heck is this? This feels important.
Maybe it's for having tea during breaks.
I can't press the glowing red button, and I'm perturbed. Check the sign?
I wonder how deep this sign is embedded.
That's a fun question.
What do we do at times like these?
Right, the X-ray.
I mean, I was going to do that, but I like, figured it might be worth just looking at it first, but no. Game wants me to feel stupid about
I can switch
that.
to X-ray mode, too.
And game explained that, like, 3 times already.
That's because I've gathered all data from the scene.
Aw, cute blushing Tama. Ugh, it's upsetting for everything to be X-ray all at... Gross? There'd be mannequins or something.
The bottom part of the signboard is stuck pretty deep in there.
Two cylinders inside of that man?
There's a bit of a curve at the tip. Kind of like a man's you-know-what.
I don't think it's supposed to look like that. That's not quite right. It's definitely like an actual arrow, which in turn isn't really curved.
Couldn't you have compared it to a fishhook or something?
Well, it won't come out easily.
She's not blushing at that one.
Whoever stuck it in probably didn't want it pulled out.
Alright, come on, you know what you're saying.
Of course not. A signboard would be useless unless it's standing.
It's useless unless it's standing?
Let's not go there.
We're there, man. We've been here.
No, that's not what I meant.
Sign stabbing corpse. It was stuck in the corpse, so it's difficult to remove. Hey, what? I can see the back of the set. There's a bunch of mannequins. That's all we got to say. It's upsetting to look at. Surprisingly little to interact with in X-ray mode, but that's a mercy because it's really upsetting to look at.
What's this? There's something inside the body.
I mean, it's like 2 somethings, and that's excluding the sign itself.
3 things catch my attention. First, a mixture of potassium chlorate, sulfur, and red phosphorus.
That's a really indirect way of putting that there's like container filled with chemical. Wait. Shape. Is it a soda can?
This is probably a fire starter. It would ignite very easily.
Oh, so the body, it was like rigged with chemicals to start the combustion reaction? Like it was always going to catch fire? It wasn't done like after the fact or something?
The fuse is coiled up and extends from there. By the way, the fuse includes an oxidizing agent, so it can continue to burn even inside the body. And finally, at the end of the fuse is a powder mixture of iron oxide and aluminum. This is a substance that causes a thermite reaction.
See, this is why you should go see your doctor regularly. And I say this fully knowing that I'm a hypocrite for not having done that since the start of the pandemic. But it just... If you catch this early, then maybe you won't become half an exploding man.
When ignited, it creates heat of over 3,000 degrees Celsius and burns violently.
Is it possible for something to burn peacefully? Hey, Arcadius, welcome to the stream. Says, my neighbor blamed for the gravel in the driveway, but it was their own dumb asphalt. I mean, if it's gravel, it's like different. I see what you did there, though. So there's no thermal scan right now? It sort of implied I'd have access to all the modes, although... No, we have definitely, with Tama, used a thermal scan. I'm willing to accept that there's nothing I would need to thermal scan. It just feels a little weird that that's not an option available to me after the way the tutorial sort of set it up. Also, thank you for the 59-month resub. I think I got distracted and didn't press... There you go. The podium. It's a podium. So good. How about this? It's a big monitor.
Looks like it's there so the performers can check how they look on screen. It's the seat for the quiz show contestants.
times 3. It's not like a whole lot to investigate here, despite what it wants me to believe.
The questions for the quiz also show up here too. Huh.
Is that relevant? It doesn't feel relevant. It also feels a bit weird to me that the interface is so different in that it doesn't highlight in green like things you can still interact with. You know, like when you're doing like the rest of the investigation, you can sort of tell what is left to interact with in a meaningful way. It's a camera. The body was shown to the entire world through this camera. Well, that's presuming quite a bit about the viewership for the thing. Hold on. Hold for mode list? Does that give me more stuff? No, it's the same. I feel like I've interacted with everything. This is a mild complaint I have about this game in general. There's not more about that, right? And I already checked both the sign and the dude. Is there more to get about the guy after all that talk about the explosives? No. And I looked at the... I guess I didn't look at the wall outside of X-Ray.
These aren't good for much other than for show.
Now I've done wall, big screen, podium, all the question things, the electric tea kettle. So want me to do the sign again?
It's a signboard.
Yeah.
So want me to do the guy again?
What's this? Getting a better look at it, it looks like something tied to his waist. It's like a spider's thread. No, even thinner.
My analysis concludes that this is a CNT, or carbon nanotube.
I heard that recently.
Graphene sheets with the thickness of a single carbon atom.
Isn't this like a material they use in spacesuits to ward off moon dust getting into them or something to that effect?
These were rolled into a cylindrical shape to make these nanotubes. The diameter is about 0.4 nanometers. A single nanometer is 1/1000th of 1 meter, so it's not visible to the naked eye.
What? But I can see it.
It's because you have a robot in your skull.
That's because this thread is made by bundling multiple CNTs. I've also enhanced your vision so you'd be able to see it. By the way, CNTs are extremely durable. They're elastic and hard to break, and it's said that their theoretical maximum tensile strength is 50 times that of steel.
Oh, baby.
Anyway, where is the other end of the CNT connected?
Up. Oh. To connect to the light switch, it's sort of going in that area. That would be odd, though. Oh, it is.
That way. Over by that red lamp.
Now I can touch it? It was very conspicuous to begin with.
What's this?
It's the light switch.
The CNT is tied to it.
CNT extending from corpse. The CNT extending from the corpse is threaded through the ceiling beam and tied to a light switch. Okay. I think I, did it.
Okay, it looks like we're pretty much done investigating here.
I really don't know what I'm supposed to take away from that last bit, though. The sign being, jammed into the body. Sure, it's not that far out there. Clearly trying to send a message, so that makes sense. The body being transported here in whatever fashion it was, with, ignition materials inside of it. Upsetting, but, again, makes sense. But, why is the CNT connected to a light switch that, probably wasn't... Did someone flip that switch when the body appeared? It seems very unlikely. So, how is it that... Not how. I mean, I guess, it makes sense that the CNT could be tied to the triggering device to, make the body catch fire, but, it just doesn't seem like that's something that would have been in use at the time that the body caught fire.
Using the clues we've gathered so far, we should be able to solve the mystery.
You mean the mystery of how Jin's body appeared? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Truth reenactment. The truth reenactment allows you to find the truth with information you have gathered. Yeah, this feels very Phoenix Wright. Answer Thomas' questions with the best answer. Well, thanks, SATs. Only by correctly answering the questions will the truth be reenacted.
Let's get on that now.
But am I allowed to answer, like, dumb? There may be achievements for, like, not answering dumb.
First thing, about that power outage when the body appeared.
Oh, this is the detail I didn't remember. That sure makes a lot more sense of that last fact, huh?
Was it really just a power outage?
I was wondering about that too. The lights came back on way too quickly. Plus, if the power did go out, the stream should have cut out at the same time.
But the stream went on, no problem.
So it wasn't an outage. The lights were switched off.
So how did the lights get turned off?
Well,
With the light switch?
I think I know what did it.
Could it be the light switch? I feel like you're insulting my intelligence. Either that or this is some weird gotcha question.
That's the switch that powers the lighting.
Yeah, let's not overthink this. Someone simply walked up and flipped this switch.
But no one was near the switch when the lights went out. Let's try to think of something else.
But if your whole supposition doesn't make sense then, because it seems like you're trying to lead me to believe that someone flipped this light switch, and because of the fact that it is tethered to the body, that flipping the switch put the body there. That seems to be like the whole thing that we're doing here. Oh no, I guess what they're saying is someone threw the body from up there and tethered it to the light switch so that would happen without someone standing by it? That's some real... What's the opposite of Occam's razor? That's like a real thing, isn't it?
There were bundled CNTs tied to the body. They were routed through the ceiling beams and onto the light switch.
But a dead body can't pull strings.
No, but it can fall. From the ceiling, I mean.
Now that you mention it, I thought I heard something hit the floor right after the lights went out.
And that didn't immediately occur to you as, like, relevant information as to the method of the body's appearance? Like, if you conceal that kind of information from me, I'm not sure why you're surprised that... Like, this is some Somnium Files 1 reasoning. If we could avoid that, that'd be super great.
The body fell from the ceiling and tugged on the CNT, which caused the light switch to turn off.
So on to the next question. The corpse was hidden up in the ceiling, right? Then how did it fall?
It's kind of... I feel like the game wants me to choose the rigor mortis softened. I don't know, like, a lot about rigor mortis, if I'm being honest with you. But, like, also... It's just a little hard for me to picture that, which may be a direct result of not knowing that much about rigor mortis. Like, I just don't know in what way the body would have been positioned such that that would be true. It seems plausible. It's like... Let's deduce this, I guess. So... Ceiling beams were damaged. That clearly doesn't seem to be the case. CNT attached to the switch was pulled. The game got very mad at me for trying to suggest that that might be it, even though it seems very plausible. The game has basically ruled that out. Culprit dropped it from above. I mean, there aren't, like, catwalks up there, which kind of makes this whole thing seem really weird. So, like, I'm inclined to guess the thing that the game's hinting at.
The culprit used the mechanism of the body softening after rigor mortis. The body must have been placed up in the ceiling like a bridge between two beams. It would stay up there while the body is still stiff.
That's really gross. High Castle Arg. That's really gross. Have we found the origami killer yet? No. We spent a lot of time trying to buy some cat ears, and then trying to figure out what the secret handshake was for Nizet Laws. I remember how to do it. It's like this. The fingers steepled, or were they making an X? It's supposed to represent the X. It's something like that. If I see her again, I'll ask her to show it to me again.
But as time passes and rigor mortis lessens, the corpse softens.
And that's what made it fall down. Now
Gross.
for the final question. Why did the body explode and burn?
Well, that can be explained by using the X-ray mode.
No, please look at the...
The ignition agent combusted from the impact of the body hitting the ground. The fire went up the coiled fuse and onto the substance that triggered a thermite reaction. The substance was eventually ignited, causing a huge explosion.
So that interval between the fall and explosion was because of the time it took for the fire to reach the end of the fuse.
It wasn't really a huge explosion, though, right? I feel like I recall it being that it caught fire. Like, it just quickly caught fire. And what I recall of thermite, that tracks. It burns hot and fast, but it's not really known for causing, like, a large explosion, I don't think.
I get it. It was hard to find traces of that trick because it was such an analog method.
All right, I think we're starting to figure things out here. So you can turn off this VR space now.
No, not yet. That was just a rehearsal. We still have the main show.
I'm only just appreciating the fact that Tama, who likes to show up as, you know, riding crop lady, has decided to just, like, float around as, like, tiny ghost lady Tama, which is kind of endearing.
What do you mean?
We're recreating the culprit's actions.
Are you telling me to do that?
You're the only actor here, aren't you?
Actor?
I like that sneer expression. Actor? Ugh. Is she holding a camera? She sure is.
The director and camera operator.
So stupid.
Now that I'm in the director's chair, I'm not going to tolerate shoddy acting. So keep that in mind.
What did you call me?
Are we recording something?
Of course we are. We're testing a theory here, so we need to create something that can be viewed objectively.
I have no idea what you're going on about.
How would we reenact this, though? It's all predicated on something that doesn't require someone to act directly on the body. That's literally the whole point of this exercise.
Shut your stupid mouth, you third-rate bit part actor!
Well, that escalated quickly.
Are you too much of a moron to figure this out without the director having to tell you everything?
I mean, the director kind of should do that, though.
But...
Just zip it and play the culprit. If we're doing this, we're going for the Academy Award.
Macadamy? Like, the nuts?
I don't know what line read makes that joke actually work. I understand the joke, but that's weird.
Enough! Let's get this started! Ready? Action!
Hi! I'm, the culprit who killed Jin. Now, prepare to witness an amazing show featuring this corpse.
Not only is your acting amateurish, but I don't even understand what kind of character you're trying to play here.
I am an amateur.
Well, this is just the beginning, so I'll give you a pass for now. Let's start with the positioning of the body. Where and how was it placed?
Well... it was right here.
I guess they wanted the notion that the body was stored someplace warm to be a hint that it was up towards, like, the lighting. This whole thing's pretty gross. I find it hard to imagine that even with this body manufactured or positioned in the way that it is, with, like, the sign and the explosive components and micro dissected on some atomic level or whatever, that it will, like, fall from this height and land cleanly on the ground without, like, making a gross mess or something.
The body was placed so it was hung like a bridge between two beams.
You can place it like this because it was stiff from rigor mortis. So that's how they did the light trick.
Carbon nanotubes, CNT, were tied to the body. The CNT went up the beams and extended downward, onto the light switch.
CNT is too thin to be seen with the naked eye, so no one noticed it.
I've got it all set up. Now I just need to wait for the rigor mortis to subside.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be in character?
We've already established nobody knows what the character is.
Boy! I sure hope the corpse gets softer soon!
I feel like he's really nailing it with those mannerisms. I feel like if I was a criminal who was going to set up this elaborate scheme, this is what I would be like. I would be like this.
It needs to be soft and squishy! Like an octopus!
Like this. I would be like
This
this.
scene makes no sense. I'm cutting it out.
Hey, you're the one who wanted it.
You made me do it!
And after time passed, rigor mortis began to subside.
Ugh, gross. So gross. It's a really clever idea, but it's also really gross, especially because we're trying to hand wave something that makes this, like, way grosser, and I'm not willing to do that. It's gross.
The body falls, and the impact sets off the ignition agent inside it. The fire travels up the fuse line.
Soon after, a staff member turns on the lights.
Bam! A body appears, as if it teleported in out of nowhere. Sometime later, the burning fuse inside the body reaches the explosives.
Yeah, again, they characterize it as a massive
That is
explosion.
the truth behind the corpse's sudden appearance and explosion.
It's like an explosion, but like barely. It's more akin to an ignition in pretty much any aspect I could think of.
Good work! I got some nice footage of the reenactment.
I still don't understand why the acting was necessary.
It's for the Freyr, don't worry about it. Do it for the Vine. Again, I kind of want to imagine a
All
world.
makes sense now.
Kind of want to imagine a world where, like, he was just standing there with his eyes closed, like, trapped in his own mind. Someone, like, stole his wallet or something. She's like, man, I really shouldn't come to the park super late at night and then just disassociate from reality.
That corpse didn't teleport here after all.
Of course it didn't. Though the culprit obviously wanted it to seem that way.
Half of a body just suddenly appearing out of nowhere. Just like the Philadelphia experiment.
Is it, though? Is it just like that?
Someone went through all that trouble to make it look like something strange occurred.
Okay, we're really straining that comparison immediately, because it doesn't seem to be like that's what happened.
I think they also wanted to draw as much attention as possible to that sign. All so they could spread that QR video.
It's time... Which one do you want? Friends, 5 quadrillion yen, superpower, nothing needs to be done. Now, I'm gonna throw an absolute fit if I choose something other than nothing needs to be done and still get loving points. Because get out of here. I mean, I guess maybe you could argue that Friends is loving, but then, like, what is nothing needs to be done? That doesn't feel like that fits any of the others at all. Maybe Impish? Does impish even mean what I think it means? It's not a word that gets used a lot in the United States, but gets constantly used when things are translated into English from Japan. Yeah, it's kind of like sassy, right? Like, I think of it as being sort of like, Yeah, like sassy's kind of a good word for it. Sort of like tricky in like a clever way, but like mischievous. Yeah, like tease-y. I was trying to think of a better word for tease-y, but like sassy's pretty close, Sarah. I don't know, I have kind of mixed feelings about that virtual reality investigation thing. I think the general idea is cool. I don't know. I think maybe that particular sequence was a little rough around the edges because it wants you to like to do something that's like pretty far out there. And it acts like it's like really straightforward. I don't know. It like I guess I come away from that feeling like it really was like a weird gotcha thing where it's like, yeah, like the body's like attached to the string with or attached to a switch with an invisible string. So like someone would just have to like flip the switch and like drop the body, and it's like, no, it's the opposite. The body falls on its own and that flips the switch. It's like that's I don't like it's plausible, but it's like the opposite of Occam's razor. It's just like a really specific way of looking at that evidence. Kat says it feels like Ryuki is actually a pretty competent detective. I don't disagree with that. But I think maybe some amount of that analysis just comes from the fact that, like, actual investigation work is being done in this game, as opposed to Somnium Files 1, where you kind of just, like, waste 4 days and then have the plot explained to you. And I say this as someone who, like, generally likes the first game, mind you, but, like, that's pretty much how the first game works. You find about 3 clues, and then eventually the bad guy monologues for a really long time about what actually happened. I'm just gonna say superpower. I really have no idea. That was brave somehow. Work hard, E. I became Mizuki E. Well, we became Mizuki. Wait, there's new evaluation information? It's not just Somniums that get factored in? Oh, it's just because I had this highlighted? And now it'll go away? It's true, Mizuki does have a superpower. Also, I think we got that for having max... Not max, but, like, most braveness. Like, brave feels like a characteristic trait of hers. That seems fair. Do you think there's a transformation that digivolves into mermaid? Like, probably. Can I bring up the album? So, like... Oh, it will only show me the paths that I have open. Huh. So looking at this now, it's actually slightly different than I thought it was. It looks like the first Digivolution is, you know, based on one trait, perhaps, like whatever your one strongest trait is. But then when you go into these submodes, it looks like it can only go to 2 different branches. I don't quite know how I expect that to work yet. I would at least expect it to have 3 possible options, which would be like, you can't evolve using the same trait a second time. Like, it counts your highest trait that isn't whatever got you to this form in the first place. But, to answer the actual question here, so we have 4, and then each one of those has 2 branches, so that's, like 12 possible characters, if I'm doing that quick math right, which I'm probably not. But, like, just a bunch of characters definitely could have mermaid. What were we doing? Investigating crimes? I don't know why evaluation is still highlighted like there's news there. Can I wink sync with you? About the reason the corpse's cross-section was facing downward. Was he 3D printed? I kind of feel like that might be true.
That body fell from the studio ceiling. If it fell sideways when it landed, the culprit's plans would have been ruined.
Yes, like you said, it would have been pointless unless the sign was standing erect.
I don't think I used that word.
Just like a man's you-know-what.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Again with that joke? Besides, it is not useless when it's not erect.
Exactly.
What?
There was another purpose to the sign.
The big arrow was to weigh it down.
It's the same reason darts and rockets have tails.
I get it. The cut surface would naturally face the ground because of that sign. It was meant to control the body's posture as it fell.
Fair enough. But it's still, like, really gross, though. About the time the rigor mortis would subside.
The culprit must have wanted the body to fall during the live stream, right?
So actually, you know, I had posed, like, kind of a sarcastic hypothetical before, which was, like, as we were investigating and, like, talking to all the people who were at the scene of the crime, like, basically everyone told us how difficult it was to get people here to do this at all. And so I was like, well, why even have the show? It seems like perhaps the whole reason for the show was because this had been rigged up the entire time. That's why it was so important that we actually, like, air this quiz show that nobody watches or wants to participate in.
It would have been pointless otherwise. But could they really predict when rigor mortis would dissipate so accurately?
The culprit didn't put the corpse up on the ceiling beams while it was completely stiff. It had to have been after the body had started to soften, just slightly. That way, they could estimate that the body would fall in a few hours or so. The stream was scheduled for a whole 6 hours.
Yeah, you just have to narrow it down to a 6-hour window.
The culprit was fine as long as the body fell sometime during that period.
So why did they blow it up? Probably just because it's harder to trace? Or maybe continue to draw attention to the sign until it burned up?
Their goal was to make it seem like a supernatural phenomenon. That's why they couldn't leave the CNT on the scene.
Yeah, that's probably flammable, right? I don't know, like, a ton about the material.
Because it would give away the trick?
Right.
So that's why they caused a thermite reaction and destroyed the CNT.
But wait, then how were we able to scan it? CNT is highly flammable carbon
to
material.
wrap it all up,
It doesn't stand a chance against 3,000 degree temperature. But it bonds with oxygen to create carbon dioxide, which helps extinguish the flame. That feels like a reach because it wouldn't be like a ton of that material and most of it wouldn't be positioned near the fire.
the culprit's motive was to make this seem like a supernatural phenomenon and to spread the QR video, right?
I don't know if that's all there is to it, but probably.
I wonder why Jin was chosen.
Who knows?
But like, what I was saying before it went into fact check mode or whatever, like, if the whole purpose of the fire is to like burn the carbon fiber thing, CNT, so there's no trace of it, how are we able to get a scan of it? Like, it seems pretty unlikely to me that Tama is constantly scanning every environment for enough detail to like recreate with like holographic memory or whatever. So like, why did we scan that if like we didn't start investigating the crime until after it would have burned up? That doesn't seem to track. Also, as Ditto points out, it didn't stand a ghost of a chance, which is always funny to me because it's said roughly 3,000 times in Season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, no, like the first 2 seasons, right? I feel like it tapers off after that, but there's definitely still some in Battle City, like early Battle City.
Where could his left side be?
Oh, Neko, did you see that too? Spheal. There's a new like life-size Spheal plush that's like showing up all over the internet. It's a very big Spheal, the Pokemon. Where could his left side be? Let's ask Mizuki in 6 years. I bet she'll know.
It hasn't been found yet. Anyway, starting our search with the people who might have the intel we need is the #1 rule of investigation, right?
Okay, I'm really starting to object to the way Tom has been talking since the start of this being in the park scene. Because, like, she keeps acting like we've just been assigned the case. But, like, we've literally already been working on the case for a day. And I say this again as someone who's intensely critical of how much investigation the first game did. Per capita or whatever. So, like, I'm reasonably willing to say we've actually been investigating this case all day. So I don't know why she's suddenly like, you know how we should start investigating this case? Is by doing what we did 12 hours ago.
Like who?
Jin's right half was up in the studio ceiling the whole time we were shooting the show. There must be someone who knew about it, or at least noticed it.
Perhaps someone who's made of Minecraft.
You mean... the director, Shinpei Wagai.
Right.
Do you like his, like, bulldog emote sweatsuit?
Where is he now?
I've tracked him down using his smartphone GPS.
Man, we're really basically Dark Knight Batman, huh? In terms of, like, how much we respect people's privacy and rights and stuff.
He's in Akihabara right now, at the Maid Cafe Sunfish Pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Guess where we're going. At, like, 5 a.m. or something. Well, yeah, I mean, rights in implied quotes. It doesn't feel right because the limo's so much slower. But, you know, it's more like Phoenix rights, in that they're ill-defined and of Japanese visual novel convenience, quality, and nature. Is it already released at the Pokemon Center? I would not be surprised that that is crashing the website, if true Neko. I wasn't sure if it was just announced or if it was actually on sale.
There he is!
Why the dramatic music for that reveal? We tracked him and expected him to be here.
Ah, shit.
Why is he so upset? What?
Damn!
What? Wait, what is happening? What literally is happening? Oh. It's the first time we're doing one of these, so I'm likely to get shot. Just the rate at which bullets move, like, even with, like, AI-assisted whatever, this feels implausible. Hey, why did that happen? Dude, like, we were gonna...
gun in here? Are you insane?
Hey, guy, like, I didn't have anything against you. Like, we were gonna have a nice chat, and, like, I didn't even explicitly assume that you, like, did a murder or anything. Like, I was gonna ask you some questions. And then you start firing your gun around my lovely mermaids, and, like, now you and I have a problem. You are now my enemy, and now we're gonna, like, do bad stuff to you. We're gonna, like, go in your head and, like, incept bad stuff or something.
There are customers and staff in here!
My bad.
Nah, man, you don't get off that easy. I'm gonna throw you in one of these oil drums and then, like, do some weird stuff to you.
An apology is not gonna cut it!
Several people have called the authorities. The local police should be here soon.
Hey, can't you just let me go?
Nah, no, we're not doing that. No way, man.
What?
I told you, my girl's pregnant, right?
You should have thought of that before you started shooting mermaids, man.
I can't go to jail! That's why I accepted his offer in the first place. I needed money to take care of my kid.
Accepted whose offer?
Some guy named Terror.
Well, that's, I mean, bad.
I don't know his real name. Haven't seen his face or heard his voice either. All my contact with him was through Nile.
I don't know. Sometimes my brain just, like, hears these things and I'm like, why are you assuming it's a guy if you haven't heard his voice or nothing? Haven't even heard like a voice synthesizer. It seems kind of ridiculous to assume that. And then my brain immediately tracks back to like the start of the game when Mizuki is chasing what appears to be a woman with like a mask of a person's face upside down on. It's like, I don't know. Could be the Terror. Could be someone from like the organization known as Percent.
What did he ask you to do?
He said,
No, the Terror is like the established name for the half-body serial killer, at least in the future. I think this is probably the first time anyone's hearing it. But, like, it is mentioned when Mizuki starts investigating 6 years from now. How dare you besmirch Sunfish Pocket in this way? I want to borrow your studio for an hour or so on the 10th before you start preparing for the stream. Do not let anyone near the studio during this time, including you. All you need to do is keep the entrance unlocked. That's all. I'll pay you 5 million. If everything goes well, I'll pay you on the night of the 11th.
so me and the staff haven't met this Terror guy at all. I don't know what happened in the studio either. I had no idea that was gonna happen.
Hey man, I would've been like a lot more sympathetic to you before you started shooting at mermaids. Class 3A at Sekiba High. You'll get your money there.
Class 3A at Sekiba High.
So, is it possible that the Terror is Genny, the sock monster? He's already wearing a mask, and he definitely seems like a murderer.
Ryuki!
Yeah, let's go.
This game is awesome, by the way. I give the first game such a hard time that I want to give equal credit where it's due. How much better this game is so far. Like, there's a couple moments that I'm like, ugh. But like that happens in like any game of this nature, frankly. Like, it's just oh god, that's not money. That's half of
The director of Horodori
Chicory or
Institute of
whatever.
Genetics.
I don't know why I can't remember this guy's name. It's really hard for me. Chikari?
Chikara Horodori.
Chikara. Chikara Hidori. Chikara. This is really not the time to stress about this. The man's dead. Hey, now it's a serial killer. Finally.
No way.
And now we're gonna be like, it's like the Philadelphia experiment.
It can't be.
It might be Kagami. Or, Kazuni? Or Kazuma, who's like the new girl who something bad is definitely gonna happen to. Possibly instead of Iris. Probably in addition to Iris. Kaniza. It's definitely Kaniza, right? Nothing to be done. 2 out of 12. I know it's February. I'm just messing with you. Oh crap. Remember how I was like, this place is cooler than the Akume Shrine? Get wrecked, Vasco.
Mr. Date told me about this shrine.
Castle Arc says, the reason everyone gets Kagami's name wrong is due to the Mandela effect. Hey, so like, you know the Mandela effect and how one of the famous examples is the Bernstein Bears books? Did anyone else see that thing on Reddit maybe like a month ago now? Probably a little less still. But like someone just had like a bunch of merchandise that had it spelled the way that a lot of people remember. The Bernstein Bears. So like, my understanding is that like, due to poor quality control, they like misspelled it on a bunch of like official merchandise, but then tried to like gaslight society as a whole by acting like it was a Mandela effect thing, where it's like, nah, like you all goofed, you understand that, right? We aren't the ones who made the spelled wrong merchandise. You did that. We're not the weird ones. No, like, that's... I'm pretty sure that's actually true, Castleard. Like, someone, like, literally on Reddit, like, posted a single photo that had, like, both spellings on, like, 2 different VHS tapes. So either, like, that guy is the origami killer and he frayed his way into an alternate timeline, or like the way more simple thing that I said.
This place is so full of nature, just like Yoyagi Park. It's just calming here.
There's something that is troubling about the way he keeps saying that. And, like, I don't have, like, a really good explanation for why, but it's just, like, anytime any person keeps harping on one detail like that, and there's, like, not an obvious reason for it, it feels like it's gonna be, especially in a game like this, a story like this, it feels like it's gonna be, like, the root of some weird trauma.
I see.
Yeah, see, like, that response also feels bad.
Tama, would you mind giving me some support?
What do you mean?
I mean, if she asked, I would know what she meant. I don't know what he means.
I've been thinking about Chikara's murder.
Are you sure you're okay, Ryuki?
What do you mean?
I feel like all of this has been taking a huge mental toll on you.
Well, I haven't failed my resolve check yet.
I'm fine. More importantly, can you recreate the crime scene for me? I just need to close my eyes, right?
Yeah, but
I like that we can only do this in abandoned outdoor settings. Yeah, right? It feels like we have to up his dosage, right? Like, we're definitely in that territory.
fine. I'll play along.
I don't like the way that's phrased either. It kind of implies that Tama's in on the murders. It's just like, alright, I guess we'll pretend like someone else is doing it who isn't you, Ryuki.
You are technically my master. I can't disobey your orders.
I was gonna make a joke about the riding crop, but it felt too front door.
Thanks. Let's start then.
Bilulu, bilulu, bilulu. Imagine an egg. Now imagine that that egg contains a classroom. And imagine that that classroom is yoked with crime evidence.
It's perfect. It's just like the real thing.
I learned how to do 3D modeling in a correspondence course.
That's a pretty good joke.
Back when I was a student, my grandma told me I should learn a skill set.
That doesn't ruin the joke, but confuses it some amount. Okay. How hard do you like your ramen? Alright, man. Like, look, I don't know if we're anywhere close to getting Mamagachi, but, like, I'm gonna say extra hard, and we're just gonna see what happens. Okay, that's impish. I think that's the literal first impish response I've ever got. Still kind of annoyed about the fact that this is highlighted, but whatever. Okay, the door isn't evidence. Okay, so I can look most of the way back in the classroom. But I can't, for some reason, look 360 degrees around. So let's look at the corpse. Alright, immediately wants me to x-ray the man.
I'm sorry, Ryuki. This might freak you out, but there's something I have to tell you. Will you hear me out?
What?
The thing is, this corpse is so cowardly that
It has no spine.
it has no guts!
Skull joke! For those who aren't familiar with One Piece, eventually they encounter a character who is a skeleton. He's just a skeleton with hair, and he's alive, and that's his whole deal. He has two running attributes. One is that the first thing he does upon meeting any female character is to ask if they will allow him to look at their underwear, because One Piece and also Japan. The other thing is that he will often use some sort of turn of phrase that involves like a body part of some kind, such as, you know, guts, in an expression like this, and then he will correct himself and be like, but I suppose I don't have those, and then just say, skull joke! And you may have heard me just say skull joke before, but like that's what it means. This is a skull joke. Skull joke.
What?
I know. That was so bad. The joke was over before I even said it. But I just had to do it. I mean, look, the corpse is completely missing its guts. I couldn't let this chance pass me by.
She might be having too much fun, but I'm just gonna allow it. Thomas trivia. Hold on, do I have control of this one? The reason the corpse is on the blackboard is because it doesn't have internal organs anymore. The open space inside its body has a lower pressure than the outside. It's similar to how suction cups work. Suctions cups work? Got it. Hey, QA, hire me. Suctions cups? Get out of here. Look at corpse.
Chikara's right side. The cross-section is stuck right onto the blackboard.
It's pretty gross.
What's the estimated time of death?
I mean, like, you know, Demolition asks, is Tama better than Aiba? Like, for me, like, honestly, it's not close. I appreciate Aiba, but, like, I was never, like, the biggest Aiba fan. Tama is, like, a lot of fun. The thing is, and I think I talked a little bit about this when I was, like, not able to focus on solving murder by numbers puzzles at all last week on Saturday's stream, but, like, in some ways, like, Tama kind of feels like the corrected Date. Where, like, she makes the lewd jokes and she makes the dumb jokes. But, like, it works. And I think there's, like, a number of factors. Like, I think it's just, like, easier to have, like, a female character, like, say the lewd jokes and not have it seem creepy. Like, I think that's just, like, a fact of life. I think it's also just that, like, this game does a much better job of contextualizing those jokes and making it seem like whoever is saying them, because, like, multiple characters have delivered lines along those lines. Dang it. But, like, you know, the first game, like, was kind of the same way, where, like, a lot of characters would make jokes, and, like, they all fell, like, not all of them, but, like, a really high percentage of them, like, fell flat. And I think part of it is because, like, a lot of them were just said without actually setting up context. It was just like, I wanted them to say the lewd thing. And, like, usually this game has at least some kind of pretense for it. But, like, I also kind of like that thus far, I feel like the characters' reactions to them have been more plausible. Like, everyone's kind of just like, why are you even, like, that's not, like, it's not the time for that. And, like, as long as the game sort of points out how ridiculous it is, it feels less bad than when, like, Date kind of says, like, a sexist comment, and then it feels like the game's interpretation is like, huh? Huh, guys? Laugh at the uncomfortable thing? Because, like, that's what, like, so much of, like, Date's, like, bad dialogue was in the first game. But, like, there's like, a bunch of factors. But, like, I think the short version is that, like, Tama does well the thing that's supposed to make Date endearing in the first game. And so, like, you kind of get the best of both worlds, is that, like, it doesn't feel as bad, but, like, you get the intended levity of it.
Based on the time the body was discovered, that would make it about 4 hours ago.
So, around 8 p.m. on February 11th.
I don't know, man. At this point, my initial thought is still that the genetics research lab is, like, printing halves of people in some effort for cloning or some sort of thing. And that it's not actually these people dead showing up weird places, but, like, for some reason, like, the cloning isn't working and someone's using the bodies to send a message or something. Like, maybe it's involved with, like, Nizet laws and, like, doing these weird supernatural things are supposed to provoke, like a tear in reality so that they can meet the player character or whatever.
Right around the time we were meeting with Tokiko.
So he wouldn't have been in police custody. Looks like there aren't any other clues here.
But someone might have been aware of the fact that the police had interacted with him. So it's plausible he could have been targeted to be killed. It's weird that it was like, yeah, let's recreate the scene of the crime and solve it. And it's like, yep, there sure is a body. I guess we found all the clues. Like, okay, I don't think we're solving that mystery. I don't think we're there yet.
Well,
Hi.
Satisfied?
What about the security cameras?
I checked the footage, but I didn't see anyone suspicious. Of course, that place is huge, so there are plenty of areas the security cameras don't cover.
Any cameras on campus?
What were we talking about a minute ago?
None. You remember what Gen said? The security at Sekiba High is completely lacking.
I feel like I'm having a stroke because we talked about the cameras, and then he's like, were there cameras? And she says no. I'm like, how is that the answer to that question? About the Nile message.
I think he was lying about the money.
Yeah, I mean, do you think?
Terror probably wanted someone to find Chikara's body.
Yeah, I mean, again, it seems like we're doing this to send a message of some kind.
You mean he wanted Chimpei to find it?
Not necessarily. It might have been for the police.
I mean, it could be a coincidence. It could be that they are closer to us than we think, and that they were aware of the fact that we were confronting Shinpei.
Terror might have predicted that someone from the police would contact Shinpei.
That's a really good point, Castle Arg. We should ask if there were any cameras. And then somehow we'll get a third answer of, like, there were some cameras and they also saw the culprit. And I'll be like, what? Am I currently experiencing all aspects of, like, a quantum superposition at once? What reality am I in? Is Terror the culprit? Hey, let's look. Tom is standing there. Okay.
That's my assumption. I can't think of any other suspects.
I mean, what a wildly unhelpful assertion. Is a name that is basically just associated with the culprit the culprit? Yeah, probably, because I don't know the human who did it. Wouldn't it just be easier to say, like, well, let's consider Terror the culprit? I mean, I guess what we're saying is, like, is the person who messaged Shinpei the person? It just doesn't feel like that's a particularly helpful analysis.
Just who is this Terror?
I wouldn't be having so much trouble if I knew that.
Okay, like, again, if we knew who Terror was, we'd probably be, like, at least halfway done solving this case. It's kind of, like, a lot of the case. At that point, we would just have to, like catch him. But, like, knowing is half the battle, right?
It can't be Tokiko, can it? Tokiko was with me at Chikara's time of death.
Yeah, but, like, what if, rigor mortis was like a suction cups, you know?
And she was in Okinawa
Sorry,
during the
suctions
incident
cups.
with Jin.
Yeah, at the very least, it seems unlikely that she did it personally.
But something has been bothering me.
I just can't remember what that hand sign was.
I feel like Tokiko is involved somehow. Chikara was a member of NICE, and he knew about Bats 490. That's not all. The appearance of Jin's corpse was made to seem like a paranormal phenomenon, as if the same thing from the Philadelphia experiment had happened.
After all, we are living in nothing but a simulation.
Okay, so you cross the fingers at the top in a way that's hard to physically do. Something like this. I'm glad that they showed me again.
A false world created by a program.
I like that they did this just to show off the hand sign again, because she definitely wasn't doing it at the same time she was saying this.
Could she have done all this to give her claim credibility?
I don't know, but it's possible.
So, like, we haven't slept in, like, 2 days,
let's go
right?
see Tokiko. I have to talk to her.
Understood. We've come this far.
Tama's reaction to, like, advancing this investigation has been weird at almost every step. I'm a little weirded out by it. like, her response to this is like, we really shouldn't do the investigation. But it's like, that's literally our job, and we've also been doing it the whole time.
I'll back you up until you're satisfied.
Like, that just feels like a weird response to everything going on. It, like, really gives me this, like, impression that... I feel like I need, like, a different car noise, because it's like a limo. I don't know. It kind of gives me this impression that, like, Ryki is, like, the killer, and, like, she knows it, and, like, isn't willing to just tell him, and, like, can't
I've been
disobey him or
expecting
something.
you. I thought you would be arriving soon.
What do you mean?
I mean, I knew you would come see me.
Man, you were so creepy with your cult and your hand sign. Why are we doing this? I'm disappointed it didn't allow me the option to do it back to her. So I still can't wink sync, huh? Is it once per day? Maybe it is literally once per day. I'm pretty sure that the way it was explained to us before is that, like, it required some time to charge. But, like, again, that's not, like, a mechanical explanation. That's a narrative explanation. I still feel like scanning Tokiko is correct. If I knew that I'd be seeing her again within less than 24 hours, I might have waited. But I do still feel like I got information from doing it. I wonder if this game has fail states. Let's start with the murder. It's kind of why we're here.
I know of the incident, of course. However...
Yes, I know you have an alibi. We were here, having a conversation during the time of Chikara Horodori's death. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're completely innocent. You are the president of NICE. Surely you have plenty of subordinates who can do your bidding.
Are you implying I ordered someone to kill him?
I don't know, maybe.
It's a possibility.
Ryuki's, like, definitely a better detective than Date. Do you think that, like, if Ryuki got a culprit on the phone, he'd be like, hey, this is the police? I still sometimes think about just how staggeringly stupid that interaction is in the first game. And the game sort of tries to frame it that way, but it's like, yeah, but you, like, definitely could have just blown the whole case on that one dumb comment.
And what would be my motive?
I don't know, something to do with that hand sign?
Well...
Remember what Tokiko said.
Percent.
Chikara Horodori is an avid believer in the Order of Percent. Their order and NICE are heading in completely different directions.
I definitely feel like Order of Percent is gonna be some kind of wordplay or hint or something as to, like, their actual motive. Like, that name scheme seems really deliberate.
Perhaps NICE and the Order of Percent are hostile.
I see. You're suggesting there was a conflict between organizations.
Yeah, one of you was the cool kids, and, like, the other was the geeks.
It is true that NICE and the Order of Percent have differing beliefs.
It says, I think you would, but for professional reasons, not stupid reasons. Can you explain the distinction? I think Sarah's suggestion is slightly more likely, that he might randomly call himself Half-Might, but that's still better than telling the actual culprit of the crime you're currently investigating that you are the police and you know that this is their phone.
However, we are not at odds with one another. Both organizations believe in the simulation theory. In that respect, we are comrades.
What's the difference?
We are living in a simulation, a false world. And from this false world, we seek emancipation. That is what NICE believes. On the other hand, the Order of Percent, we are living in a simulation, a false world. But they wish to remain imprisoned within it, forever.
The blue pill versus red pill.
Forever?
Mr. Ryuki, have you ever played an open-world game where you play as a criminal?
I actually forgot to make mention of this. So in the Somnium during the last stream, there's like a segment where you're like making allusions to Indiana Jones, They're doing it kind of obliquely. Like, I think they go so far as to call him Dr. Jones, but go, like, really far out of their way to avoid calling him Indiana Jones. And they're like, you know, that one professor with the whip who, like, finds artifacts by flying all around the world. It kind of reminds me in Zero Time Dilemma, there's a point where, like, someone's trying to compare something to the movie Back to the Future, but, like, they refuse to use any of the characters' names or the movie's names for, like, you know, copyright reasons, I'm sure. Like, legitimate reasons. But it's just so funny. They're like, they're basically saying, like, look, we all know what I'm talking about, but for legal reasons, I can't say it. So, you know, the movie with the guy, the kid travels through time in a car? You know that movie? We're talking about that. You ever play a game, like an open world game, where you play as a criminal who frequently commits a crime? We'll just call that particular crime Grand Theft Auto. But, like, that's just the crime that you commit in the game.
A game that lets you rob, murder, blow things up, leave a trail of debris wherever you go. An absurd, heinous game where you can freely commit all sorts of horrible crimes.
I've never played anything like that, but I know what you mean.
Then you can understand. If this is a false world created by someone,
Very bright out.
then the Order of Percent believe they can do whatever they wish.
That's kind of an interesting angle, actually.
To them, this place is a true utopia. A dream world where they're allowed to do anything they want with no real consequences.
I mean, the only problem to that is, like, there's still consequences within the simulation, right? Like, I feel like that notion is only valuable if you assume that you have, like a physical presence in some world outside of the simulation. Like, if you could go into the Matrix at will to do what you wanted, but then go back to Zion and, like, hang out at your dance party, like, that kind of makes sense to me. But if you're like, we all should be trapped in the simulation because there's no consequences, but, like, the world of the simulation works in such a way that there are consequences.
That's why they want to live here forever?
No ditto. The fact that you had referenced Back to the Future twice and heard someone else talk about it today before the stream, that's not a coincidence. That's evidence of the simulation. That's how this works, apparently.
Exactly.
I get it. That's why Chikara was researching immortality.
In theory, using Purge, even immortality is achievable.
Look how like tweaked out that guy's eyes are, like right now. Like right now.
The ultimate dream that humanity has been yearning for thousands of years. It will soon become a reality. What do you think? Isn't that wonderful?
Simply isn't fair, don't you think? It's time! God, I'm just wasting so much time on this. What's an effective way of training? Dude, like, don't ask me this question. I don't know. I can't even begin to guess what type of... This is like the one that asks, like, what your favorite, like, Indian dance style is. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I do not have the context to even know. I feel like I want impish points, but, like, I can't even begin to guess where they'll come from. I'm inclined to say deadlift. Multiple people in chat are saying back press. Is there some reason that people are saying back press? Hi, Critwitch. Hey, Critwitch, what's an effective way of training? We're trying to evolve our Gandalf Tamagotchi into a Mamagotchi. I don't think it'll work. But, like, I don't understand. Everyone's just saying back press. Okay, back press. Okay, that's brave. It's training for the deltoids E. I don't like it because it makes my shoulders broader. E. Alright, man, I don't know what's happening. Mamoru. Anything suspicious about Tokiko? It seems like a great thing to ask in front of Tokiko.
Not really. She's a kind woman. But I obviously wouldn't tell you even if I did know something.
Yeah, I don't know why I'd even bother asking.
As her secretary, it's part of my job to protect her secrets.
Mamoru is an excellent employee who faithfully fulfills his duties.
Yeah, but does he know the hand
I
sign?
have complete trust in him.
I'm honored to hear that. I respect you from the bottom of my heart as well.
And then they kiss, and it's a little weird.
Gag.
Why the sunglasses?
These aren't sunglasses. It's a fairy's black bra.
See, this is Somnium Files 1 joke. This is a Somnium Files 1 joke. This joke isn't funny because there's no context to say this insane thing. Sure. It just seems dumb. Like, this game has been a lot better about this, but this is a great contrast to why Tama isn't super annoying most of the time.
Gosh.
Because she doesn't do this. Like, you know, she made anatomy jokes about the erectness of the sign like 5 times in like a 30-minute period, but like at least there was context for it.
What a degenerate.
About this room.
As you know, this is the president's office at the NICE Japan branch.
The world is full of rubbish. Such things should all be washed away.
You definitely sound like a JRPG villain right now.
Babe?
That was my thinking when I designed this room.
You designed it.
Yes, the flow of water cleanses one's heart, just like the flow of time.
Death awaits you. Something reminded me of that today. The thing from Final Fantasy X when you like battle Seymour, and anytime you try to summon an Aeon, he just gets mad at you and shouts, "Death awaits you!" and then like unsummons your Aeon. It's, for me, it's one of the most memorably nonsensical JRPG villain lines. And that's, I mean, saying something, because it's somehow not a line of dialogue from Eternal Sonata. Is that all his nonsense? Great. Hey, so it turns out that guy didn't teleport. We did gross squishy stuff with the corpse.
I've solved the mystery, Miss Shigure. Jin's right half didn't teleport. It was just made to seem that way. It should have been obvious when you think about it. Teleportation? It's impossible. We live in a simulation? This is a fake world created by a program? Impossible. Simulation theory is nothing but occult nonsense.
This feels like the thing to say to this particular character, huh? The woman who basically runs a cult, who's fixated on simulation theory, just come into her house and be like, "Your theory is nonsense."
Just a ludicrous myth like UFOs, ghosts, and Kappa.
Yeah, let's go on to call it ludicrous. Let's see whether or not you end up at the bottom of this waterfall.
I'm sure there are people who'd like to believe in these things. And there are groups who profit by making people believe.
Mr. Ryuki, it appears as though there's been some misunderstanding.
Castle Arg asks if we can say this to Uchikoshi. I mean, I'm pretty sure Uchikoshi knows. He just doesn't care. That's why he keeps making video games.
We of NICE have nothing to do with this.
Are you sure about that? All the pieces would fit together if NICE is the one that made the QR video. The falsified paranormal phenomenon. What was written on the signboard. It all advances your agenda.
Like, I don't know exactly how to convey this, but like, can you imagine, like, Date having this kind of confrontation? He's just kind of too much of a buffoon. Even with, like, Aiba's help, I feel like he could barely string together an understanding of the situation. Whereas, like, Ryuki has, like, largely competently investigated it, with help from Tama, but, like, he understands it and is willing to, like, confront this villain in a way that's not just like, "Listen, I'm mad at you." Which is, like, what Date did to Sosajima, like, 3 times.
Could it be that you wanted to spread the QR video by showing that sign along with the corpse on stream?
As I've told you, we are not the ones who made the QR video.
Oh, my mistake.
What is the purpose of the QR video in the first place?
Unclear!
Are you saying there is some message urging people to join NICE in it?
I mean, that's true, Neko. We did establish that Date lost all of his memories of being a police officer and was instated as an Abyss agent without undergoing any additional training to correct this. But that doesn't change the fact that he is an incompetent detective, and that affects the way that the story plays out. It's just meant to excuse it, and whether or not it does, it still has him coming across as someone who's just, like, really bad at being a detective. Kind of because he is. Look, man, I wasn't smart enough to decode Bats 490. How do I know if there's a recruitment call to arms in there? Hey, do you know Shinpei Wagai?
No.
Then do you know about Terror?
I've heard that name on the news, yes.
How would you have heard that on the news? What context would that
This
possibly...
is about the culprit, is it not?
Why would we release that information?
Yes, but...
I have absolutely no idea who it could be. I'm sorry I can't help you, but...
About Chikara's research on immortality.
I'm aware that Chikara was very particular about immortality.
That's a really weird way of putting that. Particular about immortality means, like... It sounds like it means he would really only go for raspberry-flavored immortality. As much as he wanted raspberry immortality, he was completely unwilling to have any other flavor of immortality, and thus he was very particular about immortality.
However, I will say one thing. One must not believe in eternal youth. Eternal youth is a lie.
The hand sign is very helpful. I wouldn't know what you meant otherwise.
By the way, Mr. Ryuki, do you remember what you said earlier? Simulation theory is nothing but occult nonsense.
That was me. I said that, yeah.
That is clearly false.
Is she gonna do her hand thing and then look at me through her Vulcan live long and prosper salute?
The simulation theory is not occult. It falls within the realm of science. In fact, many esteemed scientists have given serious thought to the matter. The theory was originally proposed by a Swedish philosopher. However, the concept has been around since long ago, even as far
Honestly,
back
that's
as
fair.
the days of Plato and Zhuangzi. This world may be an illusion. At least, there is no way to prove it isn't an illusion. There are great people throughout history who have held such ideas.
But there's no way to prove it is an illusion either, is...
No, there is plenty of science to support it.
She looks pretty annoyed for someone who doesn't emote terribly much.
The holographic principle, theory of relativity, the measurement problem in quantum theory can also be considered proof.
I understand what she's referring to. That feels like a stretch, but I might just not know. Oh, we're doing... I forgot. It's an Uchikoshi game. She will definitely elaborate in great detail about all of those scientific things that she alluded to. I don't know why there's even a moment where I was like, oh, I'm sure we'll just move on from that. It's true. That is our second bot tonight. They're out in full force? Let's go with the processing
Say
speed.
this world really is a simulation. Then that would mean a computer or something that's running the simulation exists somewhere, right? But it doesn't seem realistic that everything that happens in the universe could be derived by calculation.
Not sure why that would be true, but go on.
Yes, you are right. However, there is no need to calculate every phenomenon, only what observers see and experience.
Oh, so that's your illusion. Okay.
Take the measurement problem in quantum theory.
I think this diagram is literally lifted from a Zero Escape game.
It explains the inexplicable phenomenon observed in the double-slit experiment. Quantum matter appears as particles when observed, and as waves when not observed. For the latter, its position cannot be specified because it exists as a stochastic wave.
Stochastic wave, we all know what we're talking about.
Therefore, it must be calculated and processed as the entire wave, and is impossible to reduce. The faster an object moves, or as the effects of gravity increase along with the increase in mass, time progresses slower, as I'm sure you know.
And that's related to processing speed?
Yes. When the load during calculation is increased, a phenomenon akin to a processing failure occurs. That is why nothing can exceed the speed of light.
That's an interesting theory.
The calculation wouldn't be able to catch up if acceleration is infinite.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I want to say Virtue's Last Reward, but there's a lot of, like, subtext of quantum physics in those games, although mostly after 999, so it's pretty likely to be VLR. How does this relate to an egg? Well, okay, imagine an egg. Now imagine that egg is going super duper fast, right? But, like, imagine that a computer's trying to render that egg, like, in real time, moving at near light speed, and it's kind of struggling. It's, like, maxing out CPU usage, trying to, like, render it, going so fast. So, like, the universe is a computer. You understand? Just imagine a really fast egg. Thomas, trivia! Oh, good. I'm gonna let it go for a second. Let me explain the double slit experiment. We decided not to have several lines of voiced dialogue about it, just a few. We shoot a ray of light toward a board with 2 slits with a screen behind it. This causes the rays to be distorted to look like stripes. This is because the light has the property of a wave. Then, what would happen if we shot light molecules one at... God, I hate that this uses the same controls used to pick dialogue. What if we shot light molecules one at a time? The light molecules will show up as a dot on the screen. By continuously doing this, the stripes reappear. Why is this? The light molecules are only being shot one by one. So the board shouldn't have an effect. We're gonna be here a minute. Actually, wait, can I... Great, okay. I backed out of the conversation so I can control it. This part of the user interface is so heinously untested to me, I just loathe it. The next part of this experiment was done using a detection device to see which slit the molecule went through. This caused stripes to disappear, and only 2 lines appeared on the screen. Isn't that interesting? When it's not observed, they appear as waves. But as soon as you try to observe it, they appear as lines. This is the gist of the detection problem in molecular theory. Like, it should just use, like, the shoulder buttons, or the triggers, or, like, the left stick or something. Like, there's so many controls that aren't in use when you're in dialogue, which is, like, a really high percent of the amount of the time that you're playing the game. The selections should not be the same controls for the stupid trivia thing. The Swedish philosopher's claim. Did he picture an egg?
I'd like to ask you one thing. Beings that are far more intelligent and advanced than we humans. Do you believe a civilization of such beings exists anywhere in this world? And by this world, I mean all possible worlds in the entire universe, including those outside of our own.
Stand the distinction, but I feel like you could choose better words to make that clearer.
Well, somewhere out there, probably.
I agree. Taking that into consideration, we're left with 3 possibilities.
How many of them are egg-related?
1. Civilization hasn't reached a level of technology advanced enough to create a simulation that can't be distinguished from reality. 2. Civilization has reached a level of technology advanced enough to accomplish this, but it hasn't for some reason.
Alright, that feels like a relatively unhelpful assertion, but go on.
3. Civilization has reached that level of technology and has no strong reason not to use it. Therefore, they've proceeded with creating an intricate simulation. Which of these do you think is most likely?
I mean, naturally I'm inclined to say 1.
Are you saying it's 3?
That is what a famous Swedish philosopher believed, at least. He further explains.
Demolition says, I'm loving this. I wish more games dug into things like this. Let me be super, super clear with you. This is a big part of why I like the Zero Escape games, and why when the first Somnium game came out and World's End Club, I was like, maybe it'll be more of this. And then, you know, it was like Somnium Files and World's End Club. But like this This is, like, so much more like those games. Aren't we naming the famous Swedish philosopher? It's because his name was also Mama, and there's so many, like, double M names in this game already, it's very confusing.
That civilization must have run simulations millions or even trillions of times. In which case, it would make sense to believe our world would be included in one of those simulations.
Yeah, I mean, I get the argument there, which is like, if there's like millions of simulations in one source world that everything is coming from, statistically, it would be more likely that you were in a simulation than not.
You're saying it's far more likely that we're one of the countless simulated worlds, rather than a world that exists in the one and only reality. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Oh, good, it's trivia time. Additionally, the simulation in the real world may be a simulation itself. Yes, of course. Like a Matryoshka doll. Just so you know, I'm not saying I believe simulation theory. The simulation theory isn't too credible because of this Matryoshka aspect. I don't know that it honestly makes the theory any more or less credible on the face of it. It's just sort of a side effect of believing it. Is that, like, if you believe that you might be in a realistic simulation from some higher prime world or whatever, that, like, one of those simulations could just as easily, you know, nest that effect, like a nesting doll, I guess. And that, you know, essentially you end up with, like, the climax of Inception. Like, eventually, if you just create worlds within worlds, then, like, stuff starts losing meaning or getting confusing. Evolution says, wouldn't it a Matryoshka effect add to it if it were true, since each level would be another level in and of itself with possible branching points? I mean, I don't know that it specifically adds to the evidence supporting the simulation theory, because, like, it doesn't, like, it just, like, literally doesn't specifically add to the theory itself. It's at least in my mind, it's more of a side effect of it. It already sort of supposes that there's a potentially unlimited number of simulated universes, and as a result of that, the fact that there's a potentially endless number of those, that statistically you're more likely to be simulated than not. But the fact that there can be simulations within simulations doesn't really change that math, despite the fact that some infinities are larger than other infinities. Anyone having fun yet? I like that one of my dialogue options now is I'm getting sleepy. How about the holographic principle, huh?
Even light cannot escape a black hole. I'm sure you've heard this before.
I feel like I heard some exception to this recently, too. There's some type of radiation that escapes a black hole, right? Something called, like, Hawkins radiation that I don't know anything about? But for some reason I've heard about this recently.
Information is the same. It cannot escape a black hole. It's known that the amount of information trapped in this way is not derived from the volume of the black hole, but the surface area.
Oh, that's interesting. The trivia shows up on the log, huh? That's probably good to know. Maybe I don't have to read it right away and can revisit it, because it's kind of obnoxious. Information can't escape a black hole. It's known that the amount of information trapped this way is not derived from the volume of the black hole, but the surface area. Wow, I really only kind of understand that, I'll be honest with you. How do you even measure information trapped in a black hole? Like, in what way? Like, all the floppy disks I had as a kid are trapped in a black hole? Like, I don't quite get what you're getting at.
Considering this, you can conclude that information in a three-dimensional space is stored in the boundary of its two-dimensional surface.
I sort of understand the conclusion you're drawing there from the previous supposition, but, like, I'm still not quite sure what you're getting at.
In other words, all information stored in this universe is encoded in a single flat plane.
So it is about my childhood floppy disks.
Just like a hologram.
Okay, sure.
Regarding gravity and other physical processes, they can be completely accounted for through the laws of physics defined by the boundary surface.
What are you defining the boundary surface as? The two-dimensional thing? This one's getting a little heady for me. Maybe it's just because I'm way less familiar with it. No, like, people in chat are trying to explain this, but they're not really getting at the crux. I'm not sure I can explain it, but the crux of the part of it that's confusing to me is, like, in what way are you quantifying information in this sense? Like, it makes sense to me that, like, light can't escape a black hole. It's like a concept that I have at least some fundamental understanding of. My concept of information is largely measured as, like, you know, written documents or bits and bytes in a computer. The files are in the computer. Like, I don't get the application of, like, information can't escape a black hole. Like, there's like a fundamental disconnect between those two concepts. For me. It's just like, I don't think of, like, information as a thing that just floats freely through the vacuum of space. And so, like, I don't understand what it means for, like, oh, information is trapped inside the black hole. That says, for this purpose, information will be defined as how much of the visible universe is obscured by the black hole. But that still doesn't... I mean, that doesn't feel right, because that feels like that's still light. Like, obscuring the existing universe feels like that's light being trapped and you not being able to see it. Regarding gravity and other physical processes, they can be completely... Like, this also feels like a non sequitur. Like I understand the broad thing she's trying to say here. Which is, like, if you assume that this information thing is correct, then, like, it's saying that, like, the light lost is derived by the surface area of the black hole and not its volume. And so, like, even though it's like a three-dimensional structure, its two-dimensional measurement is the most important factor as to, like, how much it's affecting the space around it. Sort of. But, like, this gravity thing just feels like a non sequitur. Like, it feels like we're trying to, like, approach this problem from, like, 4 different angles at once, which doesn't feel like a great way of trying to explain it.
Let's take a character from an action game, for example.
Sure, let's imagine an egg. I'm too stupid for the high-level explanation. Let's imagine an egg.
When that character falls, you may think he was pulled to the ground by gravity.
We'll call this hypothetical character Daria.
However, gravity does not actually exist in the game world. Only code that was written in the program. The character's body is merely made to show as if it fell based on its code.
Sure.
You think this world is the same?
The holographic principle is not a theory. It is a principle. It has already been mathematically proven.
To what extent? I feel like I need to research this now. It's already Mamagotchi time. What ability might be useful against old men? Wow, I'm really concerned to look down. Straight lead. That's just like a jab, right? Or just like a punch. Somersault kick. Schmidt style backbreaker. Schmidt style backbreaker sounds crazy. Do we want crazy? I'm no longer certain what we're going for. The implication of this whole question is a little unsettling. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's the Schmidt-style backbreaker, right? Either that or German soup socks. One of the two. But only one of those is, like, an option here. It's Jeet Kune Do, maybe. Backbreaking move E. So that was impish. Which was unexpected. Hey, that's a nice watch. Someone remind I should have this committed to memory by now. Someone remind me of that really good meme that I like, which is like there's 3 genders, like she, her, they, them, cool hat. Do I have that right? I think she identifies as nice watch.
I see. Then let us leave it at that.
What happened in the log? That was so weird. I chose dialogue that triggered Tama's trivia, but it's such a short line of dialogue that the trivia instantly burned up, which again kind of suggests we didn't test that properly. In Kyoto, people say, "You have a nice watch," as a way to say, "Can we stop talking already?" By making someone look at their watch, they'll see how much time they've spent to prompt them to ask them to wrap up the conversation. Tokiko doesn't have a watch, so she must have been really annoyed when she heard this. That's actually really fun trivia is what that is. I enjoy that a lot. Oh, she moved away.
In any case, there is no denying that the simulation theory is true.
I mean, I kind of did it before.
But unlike Chikara,
Oh.
I have no interest in the concept of immortality.
For a second, I thought she was just gonna fall right out of like she was just drunk or something, like, but like Chikara, oh god!
Because my objective is to tear at the seams of this world and emancipate us all.
So you mean dying?
No. Death and emancipation are completely different.
What do you
I
think?
have no desire to commit suicide.
What do you think the time to obliquely referencing the Matrix is in this game? Like, at some point we have to do it, right?
Though I would be fine with dying at any time.
Cool.
Because this world isn't real.
There is that, yes.
But, like, are you making an assumption that if you die in the game, you don't die for real?
However, there is another reason. If I wish to do so, I can resurrect myself.
Oh, of course you can. So, the simulation is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, huh? That's the particular simulation that we're running?
We are living in a false world created by a program.
I would love it if she just, like dead honestly, like, looked us in the eye and was like, you ever seen Scott Pilgrim? I got a life.
Therefore, if we can rewrite its code, we can create miracles.
So Japanese.
Like reincarnation, or even...
Oh, look what we're doing with our face now. Look at that. Look what we're doing with our face. See? Yeah? We're the same.
Bringing someone who has already passed back to life.
Oh, is that your deal? You're like Pegasus or something. That's cool. She's gonna touch the statue. Oh. I was really hoping...
Lost it?
I was like really hoping that was gonna be a trapdoor. Like, I really thought she was just gonna pull that, and then we were gonna drop into the waterfall. Oh, I get it.
Ryki, you were right.
No, I think I get it. I think what's gonna happen is, she is like, I can use the Matrix to bring back the dead. And then she breaks the statue, and then we leave, and then we're gonna come back, like, 10 hours from now, and that statue's gonna be fixed on her desk.
There's clearly a lot of reasons to be suspicious of Tokiko.
Yeah. Let's check with WingSync.
Can I burn it on Mamoru for no reason? No, I can't. I'm just like really sassing it up hard. It's okay, so this suggests that there aren't fail states. This suggests that you're allowed like a wink sync per like day or chapter or something to do whatever you want with. Perhaps, again, we're still really learning the rules here. But then like when the game needs you to wink sync, you will still be able to wink sync. So that's good, probably. Oh right, I forgot, we get to do this. Wow. So dumb, I love this garbage.
I saw everything. If you don't do as I say, I'm sure you know where this is going.
Uh-oh. Not the bathing suit area.
What is this?
Looks like Tokiko is blackmailing someone.
What is it she saw?
I don't know. This is as far as we can get through WingSync.
Then...
Yes, let's get a deeper look into her mind, using a regular sync.
How are we gonna make that happen? Well, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? This game does autosave. Let's test it out. This is part of the simulation. You know, it's actually kind of funny. For some reason, I was recently inspired to start watching some gameplay of Eternal Darkness, a GameCube game I never played. And one of its defining features is that it's, you know, sort of cosmic horror to some extent, and it has, like, a sanity gauge, and, like, if your character's sanity gets low, the game starts, like, messing with you. And I don't mean just, like, spooky stuff happens. Like, it starts messing with you, the Frayer, where, like, it will be like, oh no, the GameCube controller disconnected! And then a bunch of zombies will eat you, and then you'll just, like, appear in the room, like, before the one where you died, and your character's like, no, it's not really happening! So, like, how far back are we?
That corpse didn't teleport here after all. Firing your gun in here? Are you insane?
The director of Horodori Institute of Genetics. You are technically my master. I can't disobey your orders.
It's perfect. It's just like the real thing.
I'll back you up until you're satisfied.
So, like, the start of this scene? Is that how this works? Yeah, the start of this scene, huh? Well, it could be
I've been
worse.
expecting you. I thought you would be arriving soon.
What do you mean?
I mean,
Hand gesture. We're gonna have to do these. That's an effective way of training. So, what did we get from back press last time? I think we got Brave? Almost 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna use R2 to blast through all the dialogue and see where that leaves us. I don't think we have time to try and fit in a Somnium even running long. So we'll probably start the next stream with that, but like if anything else interesting happens before it, we'll get to that too. Sure, whatever. Deadlift. Deadlift is crazy. It's for training the deltoid Z. It's good for butt lifting 2E. Banjo butt lifting 2E? Okay, great. Nope, not that.
I've saw.
Whee! I burn through his stuff too. I don't know if this matters. Da-da-da. And he researches immortality, and we're like, that's stupid, you're stupid. And she's like, holograms. And then just I could let that run in the background. I don't know what trouble that causes. Apparently this game can crash, so like, I don't know, man. God, this one really is super long. This should not have been a trivia. This should have been something else. Alright. The Swedish guy. The Swedish chef. That's why they don't give him the name, because it's the Swedish chef, and that's the only way that we know him. Figured it out. If I do that, does it go in the log? It sure does.
Even like.
Do you think we'll get interesting trivia if we choose a different one of these? I don't think so. They're pretty straightforward. Nice watch.
See. Then let us.
Sometimes,
in any case,
you know,
there is no denying that the simulation theory is true.
When you play like an adventure game and you don't know what you're doing, you know, it takes like, who knows? They vary pretty wildly in length, but you know, let's say it takes like 30 hours, right? For like a medium short length adventure game. So like, yeah, it takes you like 30 hours when you're trying to solve everything and maybe look up a hint or two along the way or what have you. But like when you know like exactly all the solutions to like that same 30-hour adventure game, it takes like 4 hours to finish. When you skip all the dialogue in a visual novel, you do go through it pretty fast.
But unlike Chico, because
but we get to see that face again. Hold on, Chad. I know you're excited about this.
We are living there for like reincarnation.
There it is.
Or
This is the photo you put on your dating profile. This is the one. If you're curious, if you're like, hey, what energy do I project into the world to let people know that I am single and ready to mingle? It's this. You put this on your profile, and then you're done.
Bringing someone who has already passed back to life.
It's just a really good, scary expression. I really like it. Right, Castle Arc? Those are the ones you click on.
Has this woman...
Let's skip, and then we sing. I don't know why it, like, looks at Mamoru. Oh, we get to watch this again. I really like Ryuki. I'm like really happy that Ryuki is like a main character instead of Date. I know how sacrilegious that probably sounds. Yeah, Critwitch, that's what you're doing wrong. That's the face you put up there. Update your profile like right now with that, and then like you'll be beating them off with a stick, as it were, which is an expression that people use in that situation.
What? Looks like Tokika.
What is that?
Yes, using a regular sink.
Hold on a sec. Just like super duper 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 quick. Duper duper quick. Manual save. Yeah, I think I should manual save. I don't know if this will make a difference or if it's gonna crash again, but like... I don't know what caused it to crash the first time. It's a crash-filled day. Abyss, high quality. Oh, no pre-sync banter this time? How do we
Ryuki,
keep getting away with
just
this?
to confirm, you did get permission, right?
Define permission.
Yes, she accompanied me voluntarily and...
No, I meant from boss.
I haven't seen Boss. She wasn't in the control room.
And it's so I think this already happened once in this game, but like when Boss went missing in the last game, it was very bad news. I really don't like hearing that.
It's fine. I'll be sure to talk to her later.
Oh, darn.
I don't think this is a good idea.
Dude, like, I have no idea how any of this works. How do we ever get permission to do any of this? At least this woman apparently consented? Like, this is like the least we've ever violated someone's rights in the history of these two games. And this is the one they object to. This is the only time anyone's actually been like, I don't know if we should do this. It's like the one time the person's like, yeah, sure, like, you can rummage around in my brain. That seems cool.
Besides, you don't look so good, Ryuki.
Maybe we should up your dosage.
I'm fine. So please.
Also, like, it's somewhat strongly implied that we have not slept in, like, at least 2 days.
I need more leads to solve this case.
But you...
There's, like, definitely something, like, wrong with Ryuki. I don't know what it is.
Fine.
What a perfect compliment to aw darn. Ah, fine.
I'll help you for now, but I won't be held responsible. Deal?
That's how any of this works, I'm sure.
Look, Ryuki. Please just don't cause any problems.
Do you notice how Ryuki hasn't actually, like, consented to that? It's like, nah, like, I'm definitely gonna get you in trouble if this backfires.
You can only stay in Somnium for 6 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I don't have access to the menu, so we're gonna have to save in
I
Somnium?
absolutely need you to follow this rule.
God, did he body swap again? Is it really just that he body swapped again?
Yes, understood.
Okay then. Let's begin.
It's gonna be like Sosajima's Somnium, where he sees Iris murdered over and over. And I don't mean it's going to be similar to that. Somehow, her Somnium is going to be exactly that Somnium from the first game, and it won't make any sense. It's her office. I can tell because I can't see anything. Well, I thought she was just gonna be a ghost.
I wonder if this is the nice president's room. It's really white, though.
The water's gone.
Let's make an acronym poem with the letters for nice.
We might need to up his dosage. Gaslight says, as long as we don't hear the knife sounds for 6 minutes. It was a choice, wasn't it, to do that? It really didn't have to be that way, but, like, we really went all in on that. Let's do a manual save there. I really don't want to look at the flowchart until we at least hit some sort of dead end. I don't know if it will contain spoilers. I'm curious about it, but I don't really want to mess with it. I kind of... No, that's fine. No, you can keep bothering me, that's fine. Like, I'm not totally sure why this game handles it differently than the first one. Where in the first game you can have multiple save files, and in this you only get autosave and one manual save. But I tend not to like games that, like, won't let you, like, see the saved file. Yeah, I mean, like... Yeah, I don't think we're gonna come... I think if we try to start a Somnium with, like, at most, like, 40 minutes to mess around with, like, we're just gonna end up frustrated. I think we're better off saving this for next week. It kind of sucks, because, like, the difference is, like, largely just the amount of time we lost from my computer crashing when I tried to start the stream. But, I just think we're gonna have a better time if we save this for next time. As bummed as I am about that, also. Oh man. Sucker for Love only has autosave. I assume that's the Eldritch Horror dating sim you were referring to on the Discord, Arcadius. Yeah, Demolition, like, I 100% personally know people who would go in on that service, but, you know, we have some, like, really weird mixed ethical feelings about who is able to know about the sync machine at all. I don't know, that's kind of where some of the logic of the first game started falling apart, where it was like, alright, I just met you, I'm gonna tell you the state secret, and then, like, 6 years later, the state secret was, like, really important to Date's life and everything that was going to crap around him. And she's like, nah, I can't tell you that, dog. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like this, it's very interesting. So like, you know, the first stream is like pretty straightforward. It's a lot of exposition. The second installment that we did was some like pretty traditional investigation work. And then this stretch of the game has been interesting because it's been like pretty different. Like it's still investigation. It's not it eschews like a lot of the things that the first game leaned really heavily on, which is that it was like really insular in like focusing on its own characters. Like there's relatively few characters in that game, and you're like only ever talking to them and rarely doing anything that isn't just talking to them. And like this time around, you know, we're like recreating holographic environments to solve crimes, and we're like discussing philosophy with like a cult leader, and like I don't know, it's just it's really interesting. It's just really interesting. I mean, as I've alluded to multiple times in the stream, like the type of stuff that we've spent a lot of this stream on in particular is like some of the exact stuff that like got me into Uchikoshi stuff in the first place with the Zero Escape games, and then had me hooked enough to try and play his other games, which like to date have not terribly impressed me personally. But like like instead of like leaning on like lazy narrative stuff that's like not working for me, we're just like focusing on like really interesting stuff to the point that like even if we weren't still technically investigating the crime, I'd be invested in it. But it is actually, at least indirectly, related to like understanding the situation and like probably like the motives of some of the people involved, whether or not they're actually the culprit or involved with the culprit. But like, yeah, I mean, I just continue to feel like I liked Somnium Files and wanted it to be better. And when I heard that the game had a sequel, I really expected the worst. Like, I really, really expected that, like, this was just going to be a dumpster fire. And then, you know, when we played through Somnium Files the second time in preparation for this, I was like, like, there's certain things that I do feel like I was a little harsh about playing through the game the first time. But I feel like I have a better sense of, like, Somnium Files 1, like, as Ditto put it before, this is pretty apt, like, it had, like, 10 out of 10 potential, but, like, was executed at, like, a 6 out of 10, which is, like, above average, but, like, not particularly remarkable. Whereas, like, so far, this game, like, seems like it holds up in its own right. The new and existing characters feel like they contribute the right amount. It's not like we're spending, like, 4 consecutive days with one character, and if you happen not to like them, it kind of sucks for you. Which is, like, sort of what was happening in parts of Somnium Files 1. And, you know, like, as I was saying earlier, too, like, I feel like one thing that I'm really impressed with, too, is that this game feels like it has all of the same, like, stylistic watermarks of the first game. So if you like the weird kind of out-of-place, raunchy humor, it's here. It's just, like, executed better. Like, some of the jokes actually kind of work. And, like, if that was something that drew you to the first game, like, it's still here. It's just better. Like, this game doesn't sacrifice anything that was good about the first game. But, it adds a bunch of stuff, including, like, new and better game mechanics. Like, the only thing that's even a little bit worse than Somnium Files 1 with this game so far has been the user interface. And it's, like, forgivable. It's annoying. It comes up enough that I, like, think about it. But, like, in the scheme of things, I'm really happy with this game. And you know I don't like anything. And you know I didn't like the first game, and I was ready to hate this game. And I love this game so far. It's really good. Like, this is the best new visual novel experience I've had. Maybe since Virtue's Last Reward? I think by the time I'd played Virtue's Last Reward, I'd already played all of the Phoenix Wright games that, like, really resonate with me. I don't dislike the later ones, I just don't feel like they're quite as strong. So, like, I'm really into it. Like, I'm just so excited for this. Like, I keep debating like putting Murder by Numbers on hiatus or something because I just want to play this game so much. But I don't know. I don't know about that. All right. Like a bunch of stuff happened. Evolution assumes that I will really like the ending of this game. Did you play this or look it up? You don't strike me as a visual novel player, but perhaps in this instance it's an exception, or maybe I've misread that. Also, I'm glad people are liking it. Like, people are saying, thank you for streaming. Thanks for being here. Like, one of my favorite things about streaming is just, like, having this experience with people so we can all imagine an egg together and stupid crap like that. Like, I love that garbage. Alright, let's gather some Secret Squirtle stuff before I start trying to read contemporary chat. Okay, so... I guess between Square Poo and Crab. Okay, that's a really specific guess, but I got you, Angel. Behind Blueface, under Squirtle. Yeah, right? Like, I've been so pleasantly surprised by this, and, like, I don't know, like, some part of me has been really concerned that, like, you know, 999 and Virtue's Last Reward were some kind of fluke, because, like, I notoriously hate Zero Time Dilemma. I think that game sucks. I will play that game on stream, but, like, I think it sucks. I literally watched another streamer do an entire playthrough of it, and was, like, chatting with them the whole time. And then, like, Katuyan showed up in their chat on, like, the very last day they were streaming, and they were like, you know Vasco hates this game, right? And she's like, what? Vasco's been watching me play this game for, like, 2.5 months. And I'm like, yeah, but, like, I do hate it. Anyway, right. I think I got all of them, right? I gotta double check this because I'm trying to multitask too many things with my brain that's not working. So, like, in the poo crevice, that sounds terrible. We're going with that, though. In the poo crevice is the guess. Banana Man, behind Yoda, right. Under Squirtle. Soon face. Okay, great. Let's go check the poo crevice, everyone! Right here. So there's not really anything in that crevice, to be clear. We got Carlos and we got Pooh, right? Really between them, Carlos was hiding Bigfoot group. Pooh was hiding Laboon, our best friend whale. There were a couple guesses behind our pillow, and that's where I was hiding the cat part of our donut cat. This seems like a great time to point out. A couple people said they liked that Naomi had a donut for a hat, which I did do on purpose, but it was hiding little Naomi the whole time. I don't imagine anyone was able to notice that, but I just wanted to show that off. That's why I put it on her head. Last week I figured out that she fit really perfectly in there, and I was like, yep, that's happening. So there were like 2 more guesses. Neko guessed under a visible Squirtle. Hey, what have we here? Hey, it's new. It's Giraffe Cat. There aren't that many, like, giraffes, I find. I do have a cat that's pretending to be a giraffe. It's new.
Giraffe.
Unfortunately, none of those
Giraffe.
things are Squirtle. There was a guess behind Yoda.
Giraffe.
And I was being
Giraffe.
really pedantic. I was using little Vasco to prop him up because he wouldn't stand properly. But the reason for that is because Yoda was standing on top of our secret Squirtle. So, I
Giraffe.
want to say that was... Yeah, it was Critchwitch. It was Critchwitch who got it. Now that counts, Critchwitch. The only reason that there was something else there was because that's where the secret Squirtle was. This counts. You got it. No, you got it. That's how, like,
Giraffe.
look, okay, so, like, a black hole is filled with all of the files from my previous hard drive, right? And then Mario lives in a world
Giraffe.
with fictional gravity. And as a result of that, the two-dimensional depiction of this three-dimensional space, it just doesn't... Look, I have a nice watch that I got for my birthday. What I'm trying to say is if you imagine an egg, this all makes sense. Like, that's all I'm trying to get across. I don't even have my headphones on, but I know giraffe is happening. It's true. I'm glad someone guessed giraffe cat. It was just gonna keep hiding until someone found it. Anyway, congrats to Twitch for finding the secret Squirtle and for the commensurate good luck. I didn't even do the instructions. I was like ranting for so long, chat was like getting impatient. They're like, I want to see the Squirtle. But that's cool. So, wait, hold on a second. Hold on. I think I spent so long on the screen that we got a new question. Okay, what ability might be useful against an old man? So last time we did Backbreaker, and that was Impish? Do we want Impish? I don't know what's happening. I've lost control of the stream. So yeah, I mean, the intention is to play Murder by Numbers tomorrow. I don't know, like, we can have a discussion. That's what I think we'll do. We'll have a discussion tomorrow as to what our preferred way to proceed is. We could focus on this for a while if people are like that into it. But like we can also try to finish Murder by Numbers, which, like, don't get me wrong, like Murder by Numbers is a good game that also has really bad user interface problems. But like we could definitely just continue to play through both games, but like we can also adjust if that feels appropriate. Somersault seems popular. Let's do that. That gives us brave points. I think that's the same thing we got when we gave a completely different answer. That's fine. We got brave points. So let's save again, I guess. It's very important, I guess. It's unclear to me. I also don't know why that's so difficult. It's fine. Nobody worry about that. I'm back. It's me. Hello. Also, goodbye. The stream is basically over. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific. I think it'll take most of the stream to finish the last few puzzles, because they're really hard at this point. Because we're doing, like, some optional puzzles before starting the third of 4 chapters in that game. So we're going to do that, and at least clear that out of the way, and then we can figure out if we keep going or if we want to adjust or whatever. I'm not trying to influence anything. It's just a thought I've had, and I know that I'm having fun, and it seems like people are having fun. But we could just keep doing it the way we're doing it. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm really having a great time. Like, this game has really been like everything that I wanted from the first game, maybe more than that. And so, like, even though we had to endure the first Somnium Files and the and the mental disconnect of everyone giving that game like 10 out of 10 scores, even though it's Somnium Files. I feel like it was worth it to get here. Yeah. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. I hope to see you again soon. I'll be here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. This game will definitely be here next week is still fine. First weekend of August. I think I'm missing a Saturday is my plan. We'll talk about that tomorrow too. That's fine. But that's it for Nirvana Initiative tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll catch you later. Bye.